Nico wouldn't know that.
Well, here's the thing. I have to give some context here as well, because there's a lot of history between some of the players here over on XSET and the players on Tempo Storm. There is a lot of history between these two teams here in North America, and I know some of the members on XSET would absolutely love to pick up some kills here on the Tempo Storm as they're pushing it, but HH24 can't line it up, and now Nico is up against a wall, quite literally. Angry's gonna drop goal. There's HH24 able to line this one up. The nade's gonna go on through. Juice taking the can. The nade go in. It does connect, doing damage back and forth, but the damage has been done by Tempo Storm. Cannon back up the kill. Spax actually holding this additional angle, make sure they don't get flanked. Nico's able to get out the first nade. This is massive. The nade's flying through, not gonna find anyone, but Nico's still gonna drop. The double push, the shoulder peek from HH24 and crew. Tensa is here. One of our many-time MVPs is going off, and Juicy's dropping as well. And this is Tempo Storm with the initiative, but Juicy in the back is gonna help to reset this fight a little bit as Tensa is down, but Tempo is in a great position.
That first initial peek by HH, I thought it was going to be more successful, but it doesn't matter because Tempo Storm, as a full crew, as a full squad, were able to secure the victory in this fight. It is just Juicy up against 4 members of Tempo Storm, and I do not know if he has any opportunity to retreat. In fact, he's already found, already deleted, already removed. Tempo Storm's going big at the very beginning of Sanoff. 4 kills for them already.
And I think the big difference maker there, Cameron, is not trying to call him out because he looked so stellar in that fight. HH24, we've seen him go down first a lot, whether it be just getting shot at range, getting caught out, just had a little bit of bad luck, frankly, but he didn't. He stayed up and yes, he didn't get that initial knock. Still did get the initial knock in that fight. Him holding on, him playing point man for the team made a huge difference there, and then winning that. And again, there's a lot of history. The North American Pubg Mobile fans who watch that fight know what I'm talking about. I don't know if there's much bad blood between those two teams or not, but all I know is both of them really wanted to win that fight. For Tempo to do it with all 4 players still up, you know they're feeling hyped after that one.
And that is 2 games in a row that XSET go out early. I believe that was the team that Seven had a little bit of, was curious a bit on how they could last, if the mental state, if they have a couple of bad games. But over here, G3 finds the angle onto Nova, forced to swim in, taking damage from the blue, probably taking a little bit of drowning damage as well. That rotation not being successful.
This is exactly the situation I was looking at on the mini-map. I was like, oh, Tribe down there on the South Shore. Nova needs to be careful. They weren't. They weren't that careful. You could see the boat smoking off in the distance. They all had to bail. I think they'll probably deny themselves either to blue or drowning unless G3 can barely find the shots there. And there, look at the stims. They're more than happy to play for this, to try and get these kills. Tribe is in a pretty good spot here. The blue is still at their backs, obviously, but they're actually looking pretty darn solid here. So great job there from Tribe. Whatever momentum Nova was carrying from that last game, it's gone.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Nova still the team that we knew from months prior, where if they get to the end game, they can be strong, but it's trying to make those early game rotations that seem to bite them. I like to play with the boat, but that's a pure example of how risky it is.
Now looking towards meta, Tempo Storm, they've already claimed the hilltop once. Rolex is checking the time, seeing if it's time to take Tempo down a peg as he's sneaking on in here. And we're seeing that there's Nova going out. The second team eliminated from the server, so 2 North American teams already down and out. But Meta, with their point man here playing Scout, running into Tensa though, and that's not a player I want to find in a dark alley.
Not just a dark alley, he's hiding behind a rock now. But Meta are crawling up. The question here is what information do either team have right now on not only what if there's a team coming up, how close they are. Oh, okay. Tensa knows now. He's waiting for the peek. Rolex is jump spotting, but he's not expecting. He sees the box. I think that scares him. I think that worries him. But Tensa should spot him. Gets the peek. Gets the fire out. A knock. A kill.
The question I have was Tensa intentionally baiting that crate. Was he intentionally baiting that crate, or was he just holding that particular? Because I'm looking at where he could see from that angle. It wasn't actually great. I actually think he was camping out on that specifically, and now with that first blood struck once again, and the reposition from Tensa, gosh, Tempo Storm is looking tight.
Yeah, just look at this surround right now. With a circle shift that went in the direction that it did on phase 2, they were pretty secure that they aren't that big of a threat of a third party coming across this fight and ruining plans for Tempo. And so right now, they're just working as a big mouth to try and swallow Meta whole.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I mean, this is it. The pincer movement coming in. You can see Rain off on one flank. You can see Tenso right down the middle. Look at the mini-map. They are collapsing. Taking a big old bite. The jaws of death are closed. On in, and that's Rain on that flank. Beautifully done. Escanor drops, and this is just Meta's hopes and dreams crumbling away. They're going to need to go absolutely clutch if they have any hope of dealing with this, but they might just... Problem is, where do you back up from here? There is no good reset point.
Yeah, they have to go down the hill, and Tempo Storm, if they recognize that, they would just rush forward as group of 4 and have the high ground advantage in the fight. Abdul here is trying to relocate behind a rock to dodge the grenades that are coming in, and they can use these elements of terrain, the rocks and the trees, to sort of leapfrog away. The Tempo Storm, they're pushing aggressive. They're not going to try and give them the opportunity.
Yeah, and they're making sure they do this. There's always 2 of them visible on the screen at once, so even if the one does go down, they're going to trade positive here. That's what they're looking to do. I have to give props, though, to Meta, but Rain, once again, on the flank is going to shut this down. That was about as good of a retreat as you could have asked for, but Tempo just played it too well. I'll call him Mr. Clean.
Oh yeah, that's killing.
Because that was absolutely beautiful. And now we're jumping into even more action because Cameron Sandhawk does not stop.
Tribe had to push it from the south that we saw, and they run directly into INTZ. A little bit of damage, of course, onto Tribe coming in from the south, coming in being gate kept, trying to trade it back, but it's not looking too well. INTZ are just rushing over, flushing over. And that's it, that's Tribe out. They picked up a few points from Nova, but they weren't able to get any more. That was my worry, yes. Nova baited them out to stay down there on the peninsula of the south. But coming in late in Sanhok is about as bad as any map.
And sometimes it's even worse as we're continuing to see the action here. And this is the rotation I was looking for teams to make early. Wildcard doing it. Clays is doing it here in Camp Bravo, fighting over this pretty valuable piece of terrain, especially given this next circle. But Wildcard talked about momentum and how Nova just had theirs snuffed out. But it's Wildcard after that chicken dinner in that last game. We're going to look to continue to keep the streak alive. They've already taken down, I believe, one member of Clays, and they are looking to continue to push on in.
Ramboda here, using the window to spot out the pushing Wildcard. There's a reality that they just shared Camp Bravo for at least the next phase. Like Romeo and Juliet, but the nades coming out from Influence Rage. Not going to be as friendly. There's an immediate trade back. There's actually Fear on a wide southern angle. What a spread!
He's going to try and confirm Castile. Can he find it? So close. I think they might actually be able to get the res. Fear. This is a real wide angle. I mean, a real wide angle. They do finally have the bead on him, though. It's INTZ. Polly around there on the flank. Durso is here as well. So Fear, this is where I talked about it before. Cameron, if you take a shot on Sandhawk, you better make it count, because your position will not stay hidden for long.
This area around Lakawi is the perfect area to have a split in the way that 19 are. But unfortunately, as you mentioned, INTZ are coming from the south and they're going to take advantage of that. Fear smoked his vehicle to try and have a path out. I would have liked to see INTZ actually just fully blow that vehicle up. You saw that they had the angle on the truck. Maybe they're trying to use it to bait it out. By the way, BDM also pushing through, putting more pressure potentially onto Lance.
I mean, this is a party, Cameron. This is Sandhawk. This is what we've come to know.
Everyone's invited.
Everybody's invited. It's like I call it a rumble in the jungle, but really it's more like a tiki party, I guess. I don't know. I want an umbrella in my drink regardless of what's happening. But Fear, he's not loving what's happening in this situation. Finally going to get taken down, and now whatever leverage the 19 had on the outside of this fight has been dismantled by the third party. INTZ is there. It's Mitz. Can help him to claw his team further and further into this game. 12 teams back up. Shots are firing off left and right. It's also looking to get some fire over towards beating. But this is just bedlam. Bedlam, Cameron.
Ooh. Yeah, and the next shift's going to hard shift towards the northwest, opposite direction from the Lakawi engagement. A lot of teams are going to have to move. Not just the Lakawi teams, but also the Camp Bravo teams that we were looking at just previously. But Influence Rage getting a couple of good kills onto BDM, who are forced to just have a full send. A couple of more players not able to get the revive. But it is just swarming with players right now.
It is, and we can see in the picture there on your screen. I believe that's Clays and the Unnamed battling outside of Camp Bravo. There's so much action going on the screen, it's really hard to keep track. And yes, That was what was going on, is now everyone is forced back all over east shift, and now back over to the west, and it's like a pretty wide open area. I mean, there's a good amount of elevation, good amount of trees to play around, but right outside of Bomb, this is going to get very hectic. It's C9 and Wildcard, the great North American hope as well. They're looking to take each other down a notch here. Uneven up on the high ground. Acer, can he connect with this nade? Let's find out.
Oh, looks good, and it knocks Uneven immediately. Well cooked, perfect medium rare. And now he's peeking around for more. Oh, still only have one down though. Beowulf is going aggressive. He's trying to stop the revive, but Sam is picked up. Has time for a save, but he's going to pick up more loot for himself. Uneven. And now Acer's just going to be crawling forward, backing away.
Beowulf, this flank has done so much for his team. The pressure he just exerted on the Wildcard is the only reason that Uneven is still alive. They do not want to peek, and Uneven's actually going to go himself down to a little bit of a death like potential opportunity. Oh, that was close. Oh, that was close.
Using more first aid kits, and Adder throwing out some more nades for himself to try and put pressure once again. But Acer peeking up around the high ground. They have a general idea of where Pyra and Beowulf are, but as you mentioned, Uneven getting revived right now by Adder and Wildcard at this point.
No!
What happened? What angle?
Taken down by the nade from Acer! Acer knocks Adder, confirms the kill onto Uneven. Another sick nade from Acer. Looking at the first couple days of play, I saw a couple good throw of bullets. I said, okay, we can do better. I watched PMWL. I know what we can do. This is what we can do. And now what looked like a great opportunity for C9 to stabilize is now an opportunity to just try and survive.
Circle Shift is going to hard gun through the south stage, which is good for all the teams that you can see in the blue, but it's actually bad for Wildcard. If it even stayed central or went even further west, Wildcard could have circumvented the rest of Cloud9, but this does give C9 an opportunity, if they can reset, to continue to gatekeep Cloud9 out around Bond. Sorry, gatekeep Wildcard out around Bond. But again, fighting in the blue, these teams have not been able to catch a break at all. All the teams in the south continuing to be outside the play zone and taking massive damage from it.
Yeah, not an ideal situation there. INTZ getting a little bit spread out and punished for it in this area just west of Bomb, but G25 has been a little quiet on them so far. You saw them in the minimap right there in the middle, and Ace is here as well. All these teams vying for the top of the leaderboard are going toe-to-toe, and Team Queso still on the outside looking in. They've got their players up and ready to get in on the action, though. This is huge. So many of these top teams with all four players still alive, and now with tempo continuing to go down, the placement points, Cameron, really start to add up.
But all the teams that have multiple players up, good possibility of late placement, have lower kills. To get those early game fighting points, you obviously got to take a lot of damage. I'm looking at Tempo Storm as a big example of that. 8 kills, but only 1 player remains for them, I believe, at G25. And Queso at the top of the leaderboard trying to get those points now. Better late than never. And G25 using the blue to their advantage there. Outlet trying to throw a Molotov. Was that supposed to be a smoke, or maybe to stop the rush to give him time to heal? He's going to be climbing in. Potentially, all he hears the footsteps. He knows something's up.
Oh, he just baited him perfectly. Oh, he just baited him perfectly. He stopped. He forced the stop on the first aid. And that was actually decent there, because it was better to give up the point to the blue than give it up to your opponents when the scores are just this close. I know it's at the start of the tournament. I know we still have weeks to go, but every single point matters. As the fight continues between Wildcard and Cloud9, which team will walk away as the victor here? Both want to represent NA here in the PMPL. They were actually able to get Adder back up. That was massive. Only confirming 1 kill was Wildcard, despite the great nades from Acer. So this is a 3v3, and they're on precarious ground.
It's weird. Both teams have 2 on the high ground, 1 on the low ground. Almost in a little bit of a standoff here, but G25, they want in on this fight. They want in here. Sam is taken down.
This is actually huge, because now Spring is totally pinned. Acer is basically the last man standing, but no, G25 playing spoiler once again. C9 getting a little bit of a helping hand in this one, but Wildcard able to take advantage of the chaos of Bedlam. As Spring is here on the outside, he sees, he can hear Bayo going around into the smoke, but he needs to be so cognizant of his angles, of his lines of sight, because G25 are going to look to lay down the pain at range. And Spring is going to need to pop all the stims and try and survive and run on through. You can see it head on a swivel. He is going to confirm this kill on the Bayo, steal this out and away. But he is in a rough spot, Cameron, because Ace is getting involved.
Adder made the smart decision to drop down, have more cover, not just from G25, but also from Ace here, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, they lasted one more position in the placements, in the standings, but we're looking at top 3 right now, and I say that, top 2.
In an instant, we went from 5 teams left alive to 2 of the teams battling it out at the top of the leaderboard. The team fire! The team fire! Yes, dude, it was traded back, but that was absolutely sick from Ace, and now with player caught out so far, G25 really to rethink the strategy, but being able to confirm the kill there is absolutely massive, making this functionally a 3v2 situation. If they can get the res here, that would be massive, but they know they have Ace pinned in. Cameron, look at the circle.
Swings up in G25's favor, but Ace already so many points for themselves. 11 kills, guaranteed second place. If they can find some opening grenades onto G25, or even just utilize the cover, a couple of smokes added in, utilize these rocks and trees, get up close to G25, could have something, but already Udicarito trying to get the shot. One knock, it's only one more remains, and it's going to be another win if they can find it.
Oh my goodness.
Say if.
It's going to be a matter of when. I got to give so many props to Ace for not just denying the points to the blue, for fighting it out until the end, but in the end, it was a futile measure as G25 Gaming walked away with yet another winner chicken dinner. This team is flashy. They've got those moments of brilliance, but really, they're just solid. They play together so well, they team fire so beautifully, and they make sure that if they get it down, they work their darndest to make sure that they confirm that kill, and boy, does it add up. Only 5 in that game, but still, solid play from them.
So we don't usually have this issue with the previous point system, with the full 20 points for a win, but Ace won this round if you look at the number of points gained. 11 kills and 12 points for second place compared to 15 plus 5. Do the math yourself.
No, definitely not. Jason, you do the math.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, if you're in Virium, I hope you're not doing the math live because you failed almost every single time today.
Not almost.
Hey, I was trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. I don't think anyone out there is counting how many times, but yeah, I mean, wow, again, G25 get another chicken dinner. Yeah, they might not have won in points, but they still get the chicken dinner under their belt, which has to feel great. Ace won as well, getting so many kills and just kind of crashing the party with so many different players as well as so many different teams and crushing the hopes. I feel kind of bad for teams like Cloud9 and Wildcard, but then again, that's probably Cloud9's best performance they've had so far yet. Then again, it's only day 3. But as Seven said, at what point do we stop saying it's only day 3? It's only day 7. It's only day 10, which you know what? It's only game 3 done for the day. You two go get out of here, go get a quick little drink of water, or more importantly, maybe some Mountain Dew as we get ready for our 4th game and bring our experts back in to talk about the last match. So Seven and Glitter, please join me back here in the virtual world of PUBG Mobile. And let's start to talk about that game. That is something that's really unfortunate, right? G25, because the point system change technically would have gotten less points than Ace won. However, the morale boost of a chicken dinner, I think, is so important.
It is, and the consistency too. We've always talked about consistency. I know Ace 1 kind of beat him in regards to points there. And look at this. This is kind of the storyline that we were following, right? We talked about G25 being able to get better placement, but not being able to get a lot of kills. Well, guess what? They showed this here perfectly with G25 only getting 5 kills and getting the chicken dinner, and then Ace 1 getting that second place and 11 kills. I think that is huge, and I love seeing that Ace 1 is keeping this momentum going. I hope that I'm enjoying the aggression that I'm seeing out of them. And to our surprise, too, the unnamed there in 3rd place. This might be a spark up for them, being able to collect their 15 points. That is huge for them. We see Cloud9 there with 12 points. I'm enjoying seeing them being there in the top 5. I've always talked about how that team, if they have their full squad in a top 5 situation, they usually end up being a threat, and I'm enjoying that. With Wildcard Gaming here, I think what kind of hurt them, Glitter, was just Cloud9 and Wildcard Gaming were just engaging with each other for far too long, and just maybe ended up using a lot of their heals and a lot of their grenades and smoke grenades.
Yeah, but you know, both teams did, Cloud9 specifically will need these placement points for them, so this is going to be at least a good boost for them. And Wildcard coming off of, you know, a win in the last match. So either way, this is still a good day so far for Wildcard, even if they did have that unfortunate engagement with Cloud9, like you said. And Tempo Storm, notice that they had 8 kills and only 1 placement point. That's how many kills they were able to get that early on in the game. So this is definitely the Tempo Storm is starting to look a little bit stronger for us as we look onto the second page here. We see Clay's Esports able to pull down 4 placement points. BDM and Influence Rage both getting 2 kill points and 1 placement point apiece. Surprising that Team Queso is so far down on the list. A little bit rough showing for them here on Sanhok. You know, that's the end of the day though. It's totally okay. Tribe Gaming also kind of surprising to see them this far down. And Nova, after having a much better showing on Vikendi, struggling a little bit here in Sanhok.
With Team Queso, it's kind of like the storyline that we've been talking about. They either win and get their placement points, or if they don't win, they get very little points. And that by far, if it's not a win, that's by far one of the better placements of being able to collect their 2 placement points for Team Queso.
That's their, like, 4th best result, I guess technically, in terms of placement points. At 3 chicken dinners from that. You see some stats coming in for G25. Again, not that much damage being done for them. 1,100 damage in that last match. I mean, that is quite a bit, yes, but it's only 5 kills to show for it. But then again, I mean, playing safe. I think that's maybe just, as you pointed out before, Seven, the big difference between teams like G25 and Ace1 is they're not necessarily as powerful when it comes to kills, but they've been so consistent at placing so high time in and time out. Let's take a look, though, at our Mountain Dew game fuel moments from the last match. We start to break some of these down as well. It was a little bit of a crazy Sanhok coming through as well for some of these teams, but we talked about Cloud9 just shredding players, and we see off the bat, he does get the down right off the bat onto Ace1.
Yeah, and I think this is something they kind of need, right? They won their top fragers in regards to Adorin, and even to kind of wake up and start getting those skills. And right here, this engagement between Tempo, I think it was a very well engagement here for Tempo, being able to destroy their exit. And for exit, it was just very unlucky. I think they just weren't expecting that Tempo being able to collect those kills. Keep in mind, Tempo did end up with 8 kills for that match, and only, I think it was just, what, 1 placement point? So you gotta get your points whenever you get a chance, and if it's gonna be through kills, why not? Tensa being able to get that easy kill right there. For a second there, we thought it was going to go the other way, but I'm glad Tensa was able to kind of come out on top. And going back in regards to what you were saying, Jason, with G25, it was something that I enjoyed with G25 was their patience. We've seen them, if they don't really have to rush, they're not going to, and that's completely fine as long as you're able to catch some kills as you end up getting the win. If they were to end up getting the win and only end up getting maybe just 1 to 2 kills, I'll be a little bit concerned, but as long as they're able to kind of keep that average over 5 kills per game, I don't mind that at all. And with Acer being able to get that grenade right there, I know we were all kind of saying, wow, that was kind of nice. And some of the other nades too that we've been seeing out of Acer, love seeing that kind of performances there from Acer Glitter.
Yeah, and that was the engagement that you had referenced earlier that we were talking about, Seven, where we saw Wildcard and Cloud9 having a very extended back and forth that ended up kind of being the downfall for both squads. However, both of them were able to pull down 4 kills apiece, which is now going to be a decent amount of points added to their overall score, which will help them in the long run. And just in general, I think the most important thing is, you know, we've been asking this question for a few days now, is whether or not Cloud9 can figure out how to adjust their play style to the current pacing of the game with the new point system. And I feel like these past the past 2 games that we've watched Cloud9 play in, we're starting to see them going for those earlier kills. They're being aggressive a little bit earlier on, and it's starting to pay off for them because they are able to convert on some of those points where previously we had seen Cloud9 wait out as long as possible towards the end game before they really started kind of moving as a unit and going for those kills. I think that if they can continue to work on this, it will be a huge, huge payout for them in the long run.
That was saying Dudu getting knocked right there. That was a nasty shot and a nasty angle there from G25. The way G25's been playing, I'm pretty sure G25 Crypto, their owner, is going to be very happy seeing these kind of performances from them. And Ace, I mean, what can we say about this team? Could this be another rivalry that we can kind of start building here? As we know, Ace, we've been comparing a lot of Ace with Luke's Esports. We've been comparing a lot of Cloud9 with kind of G25 in regards to how similar their play styles are. if for some reason G25 can start getting more kills than what their 5-kill average, that might be it right now. It'll be interesting to see how much better that team can come. And remember, all of these teams are going to start getting better as we go on. And hopefully, if they end up in that top 16 and they get to go to the finals, they're going to be trying to fight for those 3 spots in the finals, trying to go to the PMGC.
I love how that game also went a little bit full circle. Because the first clip we saw there, at Mountain Dew Game Fuel Moments, was Adder killing someone off from Ace 1. One of the last clips we saw from our Mountain Dew Game Fuel Moments was Ace 1 finishing off Adder. So it was kind of cool to see that happen in the beginning, the punishment that they had to deal with, and then of course close them out in the end for the final kill. Well done for Ace 1. And yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you about G25. Like, if they can have placings like this, even though the amount of points you get from it has been reduced, they're still going to make top 16 no matter what, right? I mean, it's all about that extra little bit of an inch or centimeter, whatever you want to call it, whatever part of the world you're in, to finally close that gap they need to maybe break through into top 3 when we get into the finals. Now, we've been talking a ton about G25. Fortunately, we don't have a chance to have a live interview with them. However, before we even start this whole tournament, we got to sit down and talk to them. So we're going to show you that in the meantime. Then we come back, we'll be getting ready for our 4th game of the day.
Welcome to PMPL America's Season 2. My name is Glitter Explosion, and with me we now have Quinto from G25 Gaming. Welcome, how are you?
Muy bien. ¿Y vos?
I'm great, especially now that we get to be talking to you for a little bit. Now, for anyone in the audience who might not know who you are, can you give us a quick introduction of yourself and a brief intro on your team?
Yo soy Quinto, líder del equipo G25 Gaming y vengo acompañado de Italox, Edu, Pepito y Tonto.
Okay, now you are actually one of our invited teams for PMPL Americas. So how does that feel for your squad moving into your 2nd season?
Me siento bastante bien porque no pude jugar mucho la anterior, así que vengo con todo para esta.
All right, now how have you guys as a team actually prepared for the PMPL with the time that you've had?
Por equipo. Y también fue difícil porque cambiamos nuestra forma de jugar debido al nerfeo que tuvo la Wii y los puntos de posicionamiento. Así que tratamos de cambiar nuestra forma de juego casi a último momento.
All right, now what are some of your team's goals for the season heading into PMPL Americas Season 2?
El objetivo, sé que campeonar es muy difícil, así que nosotros apuntamos a un top 5 y en el peor de los casos, un top 8. Otra cosa sería fracaso.
What do you consider as your best moment of your career so far?
Yo creo que fue cuando ganamos PMCO. O sea, el equipo dominó en esa premiación, dominó la región.
Can you actually describe your team's playstyle a little bit?
Como la win ya está muy nerfeada y las kills pasan a valer más, tratamos de priorizar kills que priorizar el posicionamiento.
Who would you consider to be your biggest rival for the upcoming season?
No tenemos un equipo con el que, por ejemplo, decimos vamos a pelear contra este equipo. Quizá en Pro League se diga así. Quizás estemos igualados de puntos y tengamos que ir a buscar ese equipo, pero por ahora no hay ningún equipo que se me venga a la mente.
All right, and then before we close out this interview, I just want to give you an opportunity to maybe shout out your fans or thank anybody that's supported you along the way so far on your journey.
No sé si tengo muchos fans, pero sí que hay gente que me apoya y le quiero dar las gracias y decirles que en la Pro League voy a dar lo mejor de mí.
All right, I love it. There's always fans, so don't ever think that there is too little an amount to be thankful for. But thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us, Quinto, and we wish you the best in PMPL America Season 2.
Muchas gracias.
Mountain Dew. squads. There's loot on the horizon for however you find victory. For the combat chauffeurs. For those who strike from above or from below. For the experts in hand-to-hand combat. Whether you're taking a leap of faith or just aren't afraid of a close call. Fuel your path to winner chicken dinner with ice-cold Mountain Dew. And with exclusive loot from Mountain Dew fuel stations. Spawning on a map near you.
Really cool to hear from Kingso there from G25. I love how he said they don't really have any rivals just yet, but they're making rivals as teams are constantly seeing them win chicken dinners. You can see here now the next map coming up, Miramar, with Group B sitting out. They still have one match come up later on today, but I think that's something that maybe we can talk about really quickly, is that I think that's such an interesting answer, because I think it's so easy as a team coming in from PMCL to say, okay, yeah, we're watching out for loops, we're watching out for Wildcard, we're watching out for Cloud9, etc. But they're like, yeah, we're not really necessarily watching out for anyone. We don't think there's any rivals for us, but we think down the line when we get through it, we're going to eventually develop those. And I think that kind of shows maybe a little bit of confidence they have, Glitter. I mean, you obviously got to talk to them. Did you get that sense of confidence?
I feel like it was a combination of confidence and a little bit of humility as well. I feel like they didn't want to kind of go after anybody yet, because maybe they knew what we didn't. You know, maybe they realized the lobby might be shaken up by some of these new teams that had come into the mix, and it might not have been some of the same players that we were expecting, because clearly they're now one of our top contenders.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I mean, speaking of all of our top contenders, I mean, the points they're accumulating right now, I mean, we're only 3 days in, but I could almost safely say, if you're like one of like the top 3 positions right now, I don't think it's like mathematically possible for you to fall out of the top 16 anymore, because of how little points are awarded now between 13th and 16th place, right? It's a big fat 0. So you have to hope to get a lot of kills in that time to get some points. So 7, I think, you know, teams like them, teams like maybe Ace 1, Queso, can feel pretty confident. And maybe this is the question I can ask you now, going into the, you know, some more matches coming up. Do you feel like this should be them maybe holding back, as we talked about peaking into a tournament? You don't want to, you know, tire yourself out now, or do you think they just continue the pace they're going?
I feel like it's not in regards to holding back or peaking. I think what they need to do is they need to try different stuff, especially since you have the advantage right now. As you were mentioning, they're currently towards the top. Maybe it gives them a little bit more freedom. And something I really enjoy that Quinto said is that if they get anything above 5th place, it's a plus. And they're currently being within those top 5. So that alone is going to be a confident booster, because they're currently hitting the mark, the milestone that they kind of set themselves. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe later on, if they continue this tendency towards the end, depending on how close they are towards first place with G25, if they maybe try different tactics, different stuff, so they can be fully ready for the finals if they qualify to it.
Well, maybe it's not G25 anymore. Maybe it's actually a sign of like getting 25th or better placements. Maybe that's what it means. I don't know. Maybe I'm also stretching a little bit. But luckily, you two don't have to hear my random stuff that I'm saying. You get to take a quick break, because we're going to be bringing our commentators in a few seconds. But you guys at home cannot get away from that. You have to hear everything I have to say. Or maybe you can do me a favor and stop listening to me and tweet to us at esportspubgm with the hashtag PMPL. Maybe if it's enough tweets, I'll stop talking nonsense. But 2 people who won't let me get away with nonsense, unless it comes to math, it's going to be Invirum and Cameron Davis. Invirum, you're batting a solid 0 so far today. Can I ask you a simple question here?
Yes.
Okay, good answer. What is 2 plus 2?
Plus 2 is definitely 4.
Okay, we got one. We got one correct answer. Cameron, he's thinking that's a little bit too easy of an answer for him. Anyways, let's maybe look forward here to Miramar, right? We're going into Game 4. We're seeing G25 be so consistent and getting these points, but my eyes were looking at Cloud9 that last game. I think that had to have been their best performance they've had so far here, Cameron. I do think this is maybe finally the sign of life of them adapting some strategies and finally having the luck turn towards them a bit more.
It was a really good fight initially between them and Wildcard, but I still I still don't know if they're fully alive just yet because of their inability to fully like push on the wild card and get those kills. Sanico's a very difficult map to do that on, so I'm not gonna sort of blame them for that, but I'm also not gonna say that they're awake.
Well, that's the thing about Sandhawk, right? There's two bad things to do. Have a long extended fight. Oh my god, I completely forgot the second one. Now I can't remember.
That's fine. That first one's bad enough.
You're good. You're good. That's the one. Don't have long.
I can't remember. Maybe I'll come back with it after this match. I cannot believe I completely just blanked out. I don't know what's wrong with me, but what I can tell you is I'm going to go take a quick break and maybe think about that while these two take you into Miramar.
Thank you so much. There are two things you never do on Sandhawk. The first one is don't take long, extended fights.
I know the second is don't take a long boat rotation.
Oh yeah, there you go. Don't do this. Well, we don't have to worry about boats too much on this next one. We're of course heading into Miramar. Segues are weird. Let's get into it. Game number 4 of the day. The teams should be well warmed up by now, except for the ones who just come back from break. Groups are also weird. Let's get into it, Cameron. Let's go.
Yeah, this whole 3 groups, 5 games a day, rotation thing, I'm curious to see how it's going to affect a lot of teams. Because compared to the format for PMWL, where it was, I think, a lot more, I don't want to say predictable. It's not predictable in like the results or anything, but I just mean that you can read it, you can plan, you can, all these things. I feel like this particular format that we're in throws so much more chaos, which will reward adaptability. And that might be one of the many reasons why we're seeing a lot of these PMCO teams be so successful. Because the PMWL teams, they're used to playing against the set teams. They know what's coming up next. But here, I feel like there are more wrenches thrown in round after round after round. And if you're a team that's been fighting through PMCO, that's what you had to deal with to qualify for this PMPL.
Yeah, and I think we're really, it just, again, it speaks volumes, just the overall skill level of all of these top teams across all of these different sub-regions here in the Americas when it comes to PUBG Mobile. Like, it's not like this clear delineation on, like, these are our top pro teams, and then it's, you know, it's tier 2 and North. No, there are so many good teams now, and they're all vying for it. They're all scrapping for it. Anybody on any given day can show up, take a couple of chicken dinners, put themselves in first place. This is going to be today. Today, we're just going to find out. And that was a fairly friendly circle. I mean, if you're B4, you definitely got to be happy about that one because they like insta-drop on Valle Del Mar, and they're not going to have to move for a while.
You say friendly. I don't know if everyone's going to agree with you. Ace and Rage particularly are going to be kind of upset at this one because not only later out of the plan, they have less time to loot up and rotate. The circle also back in the opposite direction. So I think for both those teams, and maybe one or two of the teams that mostly on this Hacienda area, they might just say, yo, let's take all this time to get as much gear as we have, because there is a big possibility of us fighting when we come in late. But it's better than trying to rush other teams that are already inside the circle towards center. And hey, Winchester was called out during the interview. Karang is going to try and give it some love. See if he can't get an initial shot onto Lutz, but Lutz need all the love that they can get from this game, and it's not been the best day for them. Dean.
They just got back in the server, man. Come on. Leave them be. I was looking at that on the minimap. Oh, Carrillo goes down. Still can't roll my R's. Carrillo, that's cross. With the cross. I mean, that feels bad, man, if I've ever seen one. They just didn't find their guns. You have, queuing up at the top of the hill, given locations. Kowski's going to try and get a little bit of a rotation, a little bit of a flank, but he's thinking better of it. Going to try and lay down the smoke to get Carrillo up and back in the fight. But man, Loops is just not had some good starts. And again, how much of it's luck? How much of it's positioning? How much of it's awareness? I don't know.
All of it, I guess, but I will say this is the second game today that HQA took the aggression initially. We saw it happen at school in game 1, but Kayowski, he threw out that smoke, but he did not back away from the fight. He is keeping point, trying to deal some return damage. He does get a knock against Siberia, can get a full kill, but Karang using the Winchesters to see if he can't get a secondary knock behind that tree, but the angle is not there for him. And Kayowski is pushing up as a solo player, but this is what he needs to do in order to get his team back up and alive with another knock. Greer's behind cover, could be a second revive, it should be okay, which means Karang can now put his attention on the Kayowski. Up close and personal though, he has the AR.
Yeah, they actually both do the full auto, though, from the M4 against the burst of the M16. Kowski's not going to lose that one, not in a million years. This is still Loops at the end of the day. Kowski's playing angry. You'll love to see it. Looks like they're going to be able to get Carrillo back up and in the fight. And Loops, it looked like a terrible situation for them. Ended up being not too bad. HQA being so split ended up not paying off for them there. I don't think they expected such an aggressive play from the solo player of Loops.
I don't know how many teams would have taken that risk, but immediately take it out. Wasn't expecting Skies to push up with the UMP. I was about to give Loops props for this, how they return fire, but it's not going to happen. He drops onto the low ground to keep HQA guessing on where he is, and maybe delay this finish just for a couple of moments to allow his teammates to not only get their own heals, but then maybe return position to revive him. Federal finds an angle. It's a hard choice, though. Do Loops back off or to try and continue to take this fight?
I mean, HQA have no idea where Kowski is. He's going to be trying to keep track of these footsteps, so he's going to know this. But they need to be careful. Carrillo has no health. Federal has no armor or helmet. I think Kowski's dead here. I think he's just going to bleed out. I don't think there's much hope. Skies, yep, he's going to peek and see it in about 2 seconds. Boy, that rock works. No, they're just going to let him bleed, and that's just Loops. Oh man, both of these teams. Again, I used the term mutually assured destruction earlier. This is kind of what we're seeing a bit of here.
Carrillo, listen, I know you're like the best player in the West. You've proven it time and time again, but with health that low, no armor, no helmet, trying to take that aggressive peek, that's a bit risky. Your team's already wounded. Don't give HQA anything more. But yeah, as you mentioned, they are going to back off. It's a tough decision, but keeping alive with 2 is better than dying as all 4, even if they are able to grab maybe 1 more point. Overall, it's a 2-for-2 trade. Neither team is going to be particularly happy about it, but I think HQA is probably going to be the most upset considering they had such an advantage at the start.
They were in such a good spot. They had a couple players, they were kind of running a 2-2, but it was still a very loose 2-2. They were leaving a lot of space in between them, which allowed Kowski to make that really nice flank that sort of set up any bit of recovery there from Loops. But in any case, both these teams are on the outside of the circle. They're going to find some loot, they're going to find some meds, they're going to find vehicles. They haven't even started playing the game yet, Cameron. That took so long. We are 6 minutes and 30 seconds into this game, and they haven't even started playing yet. Oh man, this is good. This is going to be rough.
Miramar doesn't have that many opportunities for early game fights, so we've seen most of these teams continue their own rotation. And I say that Tempo Storm, actually, last time we saw them on Miramar, had a very unfortunate early game. They're going to be trying to sort of adjust things and make it not happen a second time. But already, Brazilian Rampage here, Sentries lays some shots out. That's going to let Tempo Storm know that there are enemies just on the upside of this hill, and you can already see them U-turning, backing off, trying to find a different place to stay safe. Able to get close enough to center.
I kind of don't love that decision there from Century, because I feel like he could have left a little more space to put him closer to Elton to be able to actually get the shot off, because now they just totally revealed the position. I'm not sure Tempo was fully aware that this team was in position. We were seeing a nice little flank coming in from Brazilian Rampage. This Nunez going to be looking to find an angle. What we saw Rain do in that last game to exit. So this is not a bad position. HH24 always up there at the front for his team. Him and Tensa rolling together, no surprise. Rain will play the flank and Spec will play anchor. This is what does. They do have a very good rhythm when it comes to these setup fights, which makes me a little scared of Brazilian. We haven't had the PMPL so far.
As you mentioned, Brazilian Rampage's split is really strong and powerful, but Tempo Storm, they seem to be aware of it, if not aware of just the possibility. They're being aware of their angles and they're trying to lay into a 2-2 split, teamwork happening. But over here, Knights need to work on their own teamwork because Cloud9 are dismantling them. Solo players separate from the rest of the squad. But what are the rest of the Knights going to do? Pushing up the hill. But Cloud9 seem to have their number. So much damage. Oh god, nothing in return.
Oh my goodness, Goldblade's the last one left standing. The team fire from C9 is too much. Not even a single down given way to Pittsburgh Knights as the fights continue to break out across the desert. As Tensa looking to put some shots back on Nunez. HH24, the first one to go down yet again for Tempo Storm. As we'll see, Brazilian Rampage is able to find an additional angle. It seems like for now at least, Tempo have weathered that storm, but I'm glad to see C9 getting a little bit aggressive. That's the difference, I think. I think C9 needs to unlearn some habits. They were always that we'll get to late game team, we'll play conservatively, then we'll get our kills, then we'll... you can't play like that anymore, and it makes me very happy to see C9 finally start adjusting to this new meta. We saw Wildcard do it, Cameron, during PMWL. They started to get aggressive, and it started working out for them. I think C9 finally is starting to follow suit here in the PMPL.
Go shift, hardship up towards the northeast. A lot of open area on the northeast side because everyone, once again, was trying to go for 5. Their teammates, they're going to be backing off because they want to rotate away from this stacked, crowded area just north of Minas de Val. The American in me wants to say Val, but I know that's wrong. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Like Cloud9, I have to unlearn my own habits here.
My own language biases, yes.
Yep.
But no, that was actually a big deal there because Ace, again, has been one of these pop-off teams so far, so to not lose any with Alpha, not to be able to like secure that was actually a pretty big deal. And I also think, I'm not sure if Alpha got it down there, so I don't think they actually knew who they were fighting, so both of those teams just going to pass, a couple shots going back and forth, but no down secured. And Alpha's actually they've shown up in a couple of these later game situations. I got to give them props so far. They've been one of these teams that I think are going to be fighting to make it into the top 16, but they definitely show potential.
Rotations abound here as everyone's trying to find the open area between Monte Nuevo and Picado. But INTZ, they're fine. They're sitting pretty. They're sitting still. They're relatively close to center. They have a nice hill just south of Picado. But this could be a fairly contested area because you can see Defeaters also roll up and Loop's taking Picado not too far from this area either. INTZ letting Defeaters take the compound. They don't want to start this fight just yet when they can easily be approached by their east side. But a fight, rather. I think this happened between B4 and Cloud9 on the west side of the circle. Gamma's picked up. He got knocked by someone.
So INTZ actually got the initial down onto Bayo, and then BR actually stole it. As we're seeing Defeaters rolling into INTZ. So what is going on today, Cameron? What was it like? What did these players have for breakfast? They're just all being so aggressive today. I love it. There's been non-stop action. I don't care if it's Erangel, I don't care if it's Sandhawk or Miramar. These players are going off, and the kill feed continues to rain on through, just like the nades that are raining down from the sky.
Problem is, on this part, on Miramar in general, but especially this part, nades aren't as easy to hit because there's so much open area, open ground, and this is a big use of resources. There's not a single knock from either side. Nades are super powerful in the late game, and the fact that both these squads are using it here could diminish their own successes if they're able to make it towards the final phases. I wonder how long until Defeaters back off. I think there's going to be a smoke coming out from Mitz. Multiple smokes actually to try and block the lines of sight, try and block the surround that Defeaters is employing onto INTZ. Look at Minbu off on the side, as well as Fishy still in the barn.
I don't know about this, though, because if one of these close players to INTZ gets knocked, like, again, Minwoo is a pop-off player. This guy's got skills. But if he goes down here, nobody is going to be able to help him. Look at how far away Fishy is. And look at how grouped their opponents are. INTZ has that little deflate. They have that little dip, which means the grenades are going to roll into that area, making them a little bit more effective, but also mean they have that additional cover. Now, Cameron looking towards this next circle. You talked about it. Monte Nuevo, Power Grid, Picado. That little mountain range there has so much power.
Yeah. I think X right now are going to be very, very happy able to take that sort of that hill just south of Power Grid. Open firing range on all the teams pushing up from the south. Good opportunity to find a fair bit of points. Or if anything, just stay away from the action, stay away from the chaos. But Ghosty, he wants that chaos. Initial knock against INTZ. Trying to go for the full kill as well. Kill secured. 1 point at the start.
Absolutely huge. That was exactly what Defeaters did because now INTZ, I talked about it, they had this cover, but that flank did eventually pay off. Nerves of steel from Defeaters. No defeatist attitude here. They are continuing to go off, and now the double confirm on this rotation. Richie is actually going to roll up the vehicle as well. They want these kills, but the nades coming out are going to dink Ghosty a little bit, but Minwoo wants to keep pushing it, Cameron. There is no flank too wide. Minwoo wants to find this angle as fights are breaking out. Now it's Tempo Storm and Brazilian Rampage continuing their scuffle from earlier. Both have set up now in compounds, but man, I want to keep watching that Defeaters INTZ fight. That is going to continue to heat up.
Ooh, but over here it might get a little hot as well because, as you can see on the minimap, there's another fight approaching B4 from the southwest. But yes, Defeaters is INTZ. They're just flooding over that mountain. Defeaters left one member, Fishy, still up in that barn to watch the angles, to give the information while the other three continue to push over as a group, as a crew.
There it is.
And it's Fishy with the angle, finds another knock. Menu going for more, gets the second. Traded in return, but Darius, as the last remaining player for INTZ, left in an isolated 1 versus 2.
Oh my goodness, I love how, because of how far the flank came through Darius, because of how far the flank came through from Defeaters, the post player ended up becoming the flanker. How does that work? You made him do a full 180, Cameron. That was ridiculous. They just squeezed him. The pressure from that play, the flank for Defeaters. That is such a heads up play, and now Fishy is able to push back in himself. The jaws of death.
They know more or less where he is. Gamma's finished, Ghost is gonna secure that kill. They only have 2 right now, I believe there's a third that's bleeding out for them, and the 4th, if/when they find Darius. The only thing that could have ruined it is G25 rotating in from the east side, but they totally circumvented it and just took a compound directly north of this. So it's a good, full, clean fight here from Defeaters. The only question is, how much control can it give them? Darius finds 1, but the rest of Defeaters are going to be rushing in, making sure he can't secure that kill. Finds a second, it's getting a little sloppy, it's getting a little hairy here, and the pop out! Darius finally gets taken out. Whoo! A little tight there at the end, but they get it done.
Oh my goodness, Darius taking those fights one at a time as they come, almost pulled off a 1v4 clutch. Won't be the first time we've seen it here in the PMPL, but the battles are continuing to rage on in. I talked about Ace and Alpha playing on earlier, but Alpha actually getting the high ground, the late rotation in, backfilling behind Ace, did a little bit of work, but Ace fired back. But Alpha was able to secure themselves with that high ground as the circle does shift up to the northwest. So many of these teams, I mean so many of these teams are going to have to move with only 30 seconds on the clock. Cameron, the time is ticking away.
Execute with that hill just to the south of Power Grid could give them a big advantage still, and they actually have a compound to pair up with. The problem is, teams could rotate up the east side and look at G25 specifically to take the rest of that mountaintop and sort of push up from behind them, but very few teams are doing that. Most teams are going to have to come from the south, from the southwest, and B4 Maxin, a spray that should have been free but wasn't able to find any of those shots, and that gives Influence Rage the opportunity to return fire, to return it all in kind.
Closed roofs UAVs. Pretty good. UAVs, pretty good. Go figure. Just saying. Wow. That was a spray should hit. That was rough. That was a little rough to watch. That was just a little bit unfortunate. The ankle there on that slope, and now B4, they're out, and they're in the circle. They're playing gatekeeper. Like, INF does have to rotate in, but still, bit of a rough position is Ace. Rough position after another, now running into Tribe. Look at the HP bars of those two players. Oh, they're gone. That's where they're gone. Because it's also Fate and crew up on the high ground. This is what we were talking about, Cameron. This is literally the power position we both called out to draw attention to. This is why.
All the angles should be free enough kills. They're not the easy. I will say they're not the easiest to confirm. But ooh, Tribe gets a nice, nasty shot. And that was all the way from the south side, south edge. Still though, there's fight between B4 and Influence Rage, trying to push in, trying to find something, but the counter nade's coming out from B4. Where's the last player? Up on top of the hill.
Oh my goodness, the last player left. B4 did a great job playing one player out to the side, 2 in the compound, pulling the 50-50 on that wall. Really nicely done. That was a nice, decisive send from Influence Rage, but they just didn't quite have the backup to secure it. And I bet they played that really well. And now B4 is going to be able to stabilize here. That is absolutely huge as the kills continue to just rain into the kill feed. Ace, though, needs to be careful going out in the open. Spec will take those 10 times out of 10. The mini shots don't feel so small in that instance when they're just drilling into you from the side. Not ideal, as Tempo was putting down so much pressure. Both teams held at bay by one single player.
A lot of work that needs to get done for the teams on the south side. And there are very few teams in the dead set because of how open it is, which means that space on the edge is a big premium right now. Presiding Rampage trying to keep claim to their spot, but they're going to go out. They're going to go out in 13th place. And Clays are still alive. 3 kills for them, all 4 up. They're in a decent position despite being on the far edge. Where's the next circle going to shift to? And who's going to be alive to send themselves towards it? Because Ace pushing in on Tribe, but taken out by Tempo.
Oh my goodness, the cleanup crew is there. I talked about keeping all those teams down. Tribe survives a little bit longer. Ace 1 is out. That was absolutely huge. And now Tribe stuck in a shack as Tempo has continued to put down the pressure, but they both got to move. They are both on the outside of the circle. They have a long way to go. There's so many teams that are all trying to backfill from the south position. I mean, Helping Quit Addiction is really the only team that has a northern position. Clay's as well. G25, I mean, Execute. All these teams have got to continue to push on in. Well, as I say that, he's out, Execute.
Yeah, what happened was they're split, 2 on the hilltop, 2 on the compound, got taken advantage of by whom other but Loops, pushing on that compound, taking control of it, and really just dismantling despite being only 2 up. Remember, Loops lost 2 in the very beginning, but there's still more teams involved in this game. Still 10 up in Cloud9. They're contesting a push out from Tempo. Good grenade from Pyro. It's actually going to be a smoke to delay the push out the side.
Oh, yeah, they did end up taking down the vehicle. There goes the grenades off. I was going to say that angle is absolutely insane. Yeah, no, C9, this is 100% the right call. There's too much pressure being exerted. On the other side, Uneven unable to find the shots. That's actually not a bad position here. They can build with these hay bales, with these vehicles, they can build themselves a nice little fort on the edge of the circle. This is actually going to offer them a decent amount of cover here, while also being able to do shots like this. Adder! I don't care what position Cloud9 is in, Adder does not stop. NA showing up to the party this time around as Tempo has continued to lay down the law, quite literally in that situation. Pedro fires back into Adder, as we see in the kill feed. His Tribe is finally going to go out. But oh my goodness, Cameron, this is one of the bloodiest Miramars we have ever seen.
There's still so little cover in the circle. It's basically a big giant hill in the dead center. But if you there's no cover on top of the hill. So anyone who tries to take control is just going to be shot from all 360 degrees around them, which is why it's still a donut of a circle. Teams are still on the surrounding areas. Tempo Storm, they took the compound from Cloud9. They dealt some damage to the teams around them. But their continued push into the circle is gonna be a rough one. They're not yet in the blue just yet, or at least the players that are still alive, HA24 and Tensa. But their vehicle situation, I don't know how hot it is. And either way, they're gonna drive directly into the firing range of Cloud9.
Yeah, and I'm kind of, I talked about how I like this little setup for C9 here, but they've got so many angles they can get shot from too. As well, you can see right there as Pyro does go down. Pito's long-range shots. We literally saw him 1v4. He was he's a one-man highlight reel on Wednesday. And he wants to continue to show up in a big way here, repping for G25 as Tempo are trying to snake their way on in, but C9 are in their way as well. A little bit of actually cannibalization from these North American teams, whether it be Tribe, Tempo, or Cloud9. G25 is taking advantage on the chaos on the outset with the big guns, never tiring here, as we can see the whole stage laid out as Clays and B4 are also fighting.
This shift, hard shift towards the northwest, let's say medium shift towards the northwest, means that whoever wins this southeast fight actually has a really big advantage being able to use that hill to peek over the rest of the circle. I say that as if winning the fight in the southeast or the east side is going to be easy because there are still a lot of teams contesting for it, and G25 have a really good position. Once again, spread out. They've taken control of their quadrant of the circle, and they're putting pressure on everyone else now that they have the sightlines available.
Yeah, they've sort of creeping their way up the hill just enough to be able to feed that info back to the rest of the team. You can see Interlock's doing that right there, laying down the fire. C9 is doing that as well, but not able to connect on the shots onto B4. But again, at some point, you need to deal with G25. They are the thorn in everyone's side. Tempo is doing that as well. I cannot believe this. It's like I shoot you, and you shoot them, and you shoot them, and you shoot them, and it's just, it never stops.
Tempo Storm, you saw they had a little bit of a ridge. They are finding a path in, but it's still a long path for them to continue on. Cloud9 in their way, but an even taken out by G25. 5 kills for them and a lot more on the table for them to pick up. Tempo Storm finally eliminated by Cloud9. But the entire time, the powerhouse, the juggernaut, that is G25 pushing forward.
And with Adder going down to that Pepito whole crew, they are just unstoppable right now. The only team that's going to try and shut them down, the only one with 4 players left, it's Clays, who actually been able to weasel their way in. They're getting involved, don't get me wrong. We're seeing Seba actually getting Edu down. That's actually a big deal. because now G25 is going to have to slow their advance. But B4 and C9 are still in their way. They've got a couple little mini-bosses to deal with if Clays is still left with all 4 at the end, as those nades continue to rain on through. That C9 down and out.
Ooh, good angle! Oh, and that's a double knock, immediately traded out. That is 2 down for both G25 and B4. I say that, I think G25 got their first down player picked up a Pepito with the grenade. They know where they are. That one looks good!
Another nade from Pepito, spelling the demise for another team. And that is B4 in shambles, absolutely shredded by the combined firepower of G25. And what looked like they could have been another boss en route to the finish of this game is now finished, level cleared. And G25 is going to say, let's move on.
More grenades. They know that one player B4 is left. I don't know how that last grenade didn't finish off the entirety of them. Cooked a bit too long, then Abete rotated behind that rock. But the hill that I mentioned allows G25 to isolate this fight. They don't have to peek over to the opposite side. They're going to want to take out this last B4 member soon. That nade is going to be able to do the trick, and just in time, because the blue is going to soon. And so now they can spread out once again, take control of this hill, and use the limited terrain that they have to start to put pressure on Clays and HQA, who still have yet to fight because of the lack of control on their end, but Skies finds the angle, gets a double spray of his own.
Skies, what an absolute monster. With one clip, takes on multiple members. But Revolt is still in this. 2 players are 25 Cs, the other 2 teams remaining and fighting it out. They're going to take advantage. This reminds me so much of the games you saw earlier on today, Cameron. They know these teams, they know when to strike at this level of play, and as HQA gets eliminated, here comes the vehicles, here comes the send. There's no time to even send. That's just it. That's just the game over once again. G25 with a nice 13 kill win. Once again, oh my goodness, that looked good.
G25 are showing themselves to be an absolutely sick team coming into PMPL. Forget Cloud9, forget Loops, forget Tempo Storm, assuming we're talking about the good days. G25 are taking over. They are not letting anyone get the chance to fight back. This is the amount of kills that they are consistently able to get from the beginning of the round towards the end. It's ridiculous.
It's the consistency with which I would love to hear their team comps, because it always feels like they're never really getting caught out. The team fire, the team grenading. Like, it's not even like, as Jason returns, thank you. Wow, I love how your little animation is so nice. It's not even like they're confusing, like, is it that rock or is it that rock? Like, when the nades fly true side of them, you're gonna pinch between a frag and a molly. Like, that kind of stuff just shows the G25 is on another level. Jason, I know you were chilling with the analysts watching that game. How are you guys reacting to that? Because that was so insane.
I think it went something like, oh, something like that. Pretty much for all of us. That's how we reacted.
Sounds about right.
I think production loves me right now. I think it blew their ears completely up. I think G25, like they think about the last game, right? They did it. They got first place, yes, in terms of getting the chicken dinner, but they didn't win overall in points from that match. And now they're like, you know what? All right, fine. We didn't get first place last time in terms of all the points, but this time we're sure as hell gonna do so. The amount of kills they got, the confidence they had, G25 is easily showing their contender to be one of the top 3 teams overall, not just from the league play, but into the finals. Top 3, PMGC potentially on the cusp. And Pepito, this man's nades are ridiculous. Oh my gosh. Every time he seems to be hitting everything perfectly, and I think we might be able to break it down later on. You guys go get something to drink, catch your breath after that finish, and we'll see you guys for the 5th and final match of the day. We're gonna bring our experts back in to talk about that last game with them. Redonkulous is all I can really say for the nades at the very end there, but G25 was at 3 for 3 today. That's ridiculous, Clitter.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know what's in the water for them today, but that is their second. That is their second 13 kill win of the day, their 3rd win of the day. This is unreal. I don't think we've ever seen a performance this consistent ever yet out of a team, so this is very, very impressive. But Clays Esports pulling down 2nd place, able to get themselves a ton of points this time around. B4 being even more consistent as the days go on. This is very, very good for them, but helping Quit Addiction. This is the first time we have seen them in a top 4 position. They were able to get so many points for their squad, and honestly, I was saying it while we were watching there at the end, the fact that they pushed up on Clay's, they literally handed the game to G25 after that because they put so much damage into Clay's esports, and they were the only other squad before up that G25 really had to worry about, and that finish was just insane. But once again, a little bit more aggression and consistency coming out of Cloud9 and Tempo Storm. So things are starting to kind of, I don't know, maybe shake themselves up, but almost even back out in that process right now, Seven.
Yeah, and with Cloud9, I'm so glad you mentioned it there, that we're able to get 6 kills. We're starting to see them, even though they're not getting the positioning that we're kind of used to, guess what? Now they're starting to get a lot of kills here with 6 kills. And going back to G25, I'm pretty sure we're going to switch here towards the second page. I love how they've been using every single time they get a little bit closer to the zone to get to rotate really fast and get in the zone, something that we kind of saw from B4 there in the last game too. We see Tribe Gaming here with 5 points. We see Alpha 7 Esports, which started the day really, really strong here, fall down to the second page in 10th place with only 3 points. We see Influence Rage, Ace 1. Remember we were talking about in regards to G25 Gaming and Ace 1, the difference of how one can definitely frag out, but the other one was being more consistent. Well, guess what? G25 might have heard that, and they're trying to go ahead and close that gap, as they were able to get 13 kills in the last one. We go down, we execute. INTC and then Pittsburgh Knights execute. Not sure what's going on there, but so far just very, very poor performances and not what I expected from them.
Yeah, I mean, again, not to be too harsh on any of the players, but it seemed like when Zute was on the team, they were definitely performing a lot better. Oh, I mean, yeah, better. I'm not going to say a lot better. We see some stats out of G25, 2,200 damage, 13 kills, 10 knockouts. I mean, the way they played at the very end, too, it wasn't like, let's just go full-out aggression on everyone. It was like play the right moment, right? They waited for that right opportunity to open up, and they said, okay, this is our chance, this is our time. Let's just get all the kills in the world that we possibly can. Let's look good with our nades. And you know what? Not only are they playing good, they look fantastic. Pepito's hair is flawless. I'm expecting him to get a like a shampoo conditioner sponsorship. But Glitter, like honestly, G25, they are looking better and better as time goes on. And again, this is one of the teams that I'm expecting now to easily be qualified through into the finals coming up in quite a few weeks, actually. We're still in week 1. I keep forgetting about this. Every time we have like days off, I think we're back into World League where it's like the next week, but they're just still continuing this pace. And I mean, yeah, Cloud9's getting better. Yeah, Tempo Storm's looking better, but I never expected the top teams we saw in World League not be able to replicate that success coming into this.
Yeah, I think we all expected those top teams to kind of just come out of the gate swinging, because that's what we've seen them do in PMWL West. But G25 is very, very impressive right now, because it's almost like they have this very methodical approach. They haven't done anything like overly flashy because they've just been so consistently good. They always are together. They're always making smart decisions. We've seen how much utility they're starting to use now, and it's going incredibly well for them. I mean, look at the damage coming out of Pepito. This is insane. I mean, 7, like 11 kills that he participated in, and they had 13. Pepito has been stepping up to the plate.
Listen, not only is his hair looking good, but as I said earlier, his stats are starting to look even more amazing. This man is going to become a star if he's able to go ahead and continue with those kind of performances. 6 kills, 5 assists, the amount of damage that he's able to put out too, and then you have Quinto being able to kind of help as well. The good thing when you get somebody special like Pepito that's putting out those kind of stats, if their teammates can rally behind that, it becomes even a scarier team. We saw them win a game earlier with only 5 kills. They ended up with 20 points total. But coming in here, they just kind of took advantage a little bit more of what they were given and being able to get those 13 kills. And on top of that, the win. Pepito just looking like a rock star right now.
Thing is, this is one of those teams that came into this event who qualified from PMPL America Season 1. And obviously it didn't make it into World League from that, but I feel like they came back with like so much hunger to like be one of the best teams, to not let what happened last season happen yet again. And obviously with what's on the line with PMGC being $2 million in prize pool, they definitely don't want to miss out a second time. But in the meantime, let's take a look at our Mountain Dew Game Fuel moments from the last match and start to break some of these down. I'm guaranteeing you at the very end, we're definitely going to see some nade action coming to life here. But already, I mean, you see HQA, I mean, helping put addiction. They talked about the Skies interview of they're going to battle loops every time they possibly can. And this time it seems like they came out the worst for wear up against them.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm surprised that they're kind of sticking to it. But in this one, it was a bit of a toss-up. You see Kayoski being able to get a kill right there. Later on, though, he does end up getting knocked and finished off by H2A. So it's one of those things where at what point are those teams going to go ahead and continue to drop on each other? At what point are they going to continue to kind of engage early on if it's going to hurt them later into the match? As we do go on here and we see brrr. My favorite name by far to say because Jason can't say it. And then you have B4. B4's actually been surprising me the way they've been playing. They were able to get 7 kills there in the last matchup. I think they got very unlucky with the positioning, but something that we did kind of catch with B4 that we enjoy, Glitter, is how quick they're moving into the zone. Before, in previous tournaments, they used to rotate very, very late, but now it seems like a completely different team in the way that they're rotating.
Yeah, and it's making a huge difference for them overall in their gameplay. It's allowing them to be a little bit more aggressive against those teams that are now moving more slowly into the zone shift. And I feel like they're just functioning better as a unit. We're seeing less, less indecisiveness out of them. They're feeling a lot more confident, and I don't know what is working for them, but obviously we've seen them do well on Miramar in the past, so that's not too much of a surprise, but they have just been so much stronger, so much earlier in this season than what we've seen previously that potentially I think that they will definitely be contending for one of our top 5-6 slots moving into finals.
Yeah, and then as we see right here, Pepito being able to just kind of get that nade, and I think it was Cameron or Paul that said it. I'm surprised that first nade didn't actually end up killing everybody, but something that I love seeing is that they're not only using nades, they're also starting to use Molotovs, and they're trying to take advantage of it. Luckily for kind of G25 as well, is that you had H2A taken out on Clay's Esports. I think that was just such a huge help for them, and then you see Pepito once again with even more nades. The way they've been able to use their utility has been amazing, and they kind of give me flashes. If you guys remember going back to PMWL Season 0, they give me a lot of flashes the way they're using those nades to Footballers, and Footballers, keep in mind, ended up winning the PMWL. So could this be the Footballers of Americas?
I mean, we got our loops, which is Ace 1. So it wouldn't surprise me to see that, actually. And obviously we got to see the play there, but I think Seven wants to break it down even further. The Pepito nade coming through. I'm going to try to give you some sound effects if you want, Seven, but why don't you kick it off?
Come on. Can you give me a quick brrr? Come on, Jason. I believe in you. And give me a second, because for some reason this is that old clip that we have. Let me just switch it up. There you go. There we have it right there. The Pepito grenade. Look.
Oh, you paused it.
Look how close they are to each other, man. Just look how close they are to each other. It's crazy. And he was able to just knock a couple. I'm surprised, honestly. I'm really surprised he was not able to just kind of finish them off. And I love the way that he kind of just goes back, see if he can pick up his teammate. He realized that at one point that it's kind of just one player left. And there comes the support squad. But overall, I think the way he was able to gauge that and the way he was able to throw that grenade, it was just impressive. And I also love how they just kind of are aware of their surroundings. They knew that the other teams that are currently just over here are not able to really see him, so they can just continue on with that full engagement and continue on with just throwing nades and winning those gunfights. Overall, G25, very, very impressive today.
I think we know how Pepito got his 1,000 damage. Basically off that one nade alone right there, coming through. Ridiculous stuff, but again, that's not the first time we've seen him have a fantastic nade. It's not the first time we've seen him get 3 knocks. I think it was like, actually, I think he got like 2 knocks and one person was already down with a grenade. He got a 3K before when we saw them in another match on day 1, I believe that was. But we can see here the damage now done from all the teams. And of course, G25 going to be in the lead. But you see B4 in there with 1,600. You see Tempo as well. And also Cloud9 Glitter. We talked about Cloud9 before. The damage numbers are starting to rise for those.
Yeah, and that's why I touched on it a little bit when we were looking at the overall map rankings too, because I feel like Cloud9 and Tempo are starting to find a groove when it comes to figuring out the level of aggression that works for these squads. Because initially, they weren't those teams that were going to be coming out of the gate super, super strong and aggressive. They were kind of going to play it a little bit slower and wait till the end game, and it's just not working out as well for them. Now they're really stepping up to the plate, putting out that level of damage that I think is necessary for how all of these teams are playing right now. And even if you look down the list, I believe it's Defeaters down there still with over 1K damage, even having gone out incredibly early. So everyone's starting to figure out what works for them and how to make it work within this lobby of aggressive teams, because I think there are a lot more teams this time around that are willing to take those fights and take those engagements. And I'm excited to see how everything kind of shakes out from here.
Well, 7 and Glitter. We saw earlier on, I think it was after like game 2 or 3, like kind of total stats coming in for some teams, like the tournament leaders. Well, now we're gonna take a look at our stats for G25. They had, keep in mind, most damage done out of any other team at just above 10,000, and that is continuing to grow here. I mean, look what they have with Pepito on 4,500 practically. I mean, Pinto a little bit lower, but he's still putting out a lot of work with his assist game. But then again, Pepito's just running the board here with 16 himself.
Oh my.
I'm so glad you kind of pointed that out. Pepito is being the rock star of this team right now. 22 knocks, 23 kills, almost 4,500 damage, 16 assists. You usually don't see those kind of assists from somebody that's fragging out that much. Usually they end up being able to finish it. So it's good that he's kind of being able to be a support for his team too. And nobody from this team is currently slacking up. You see Quinto, even though he might not have the best damage, he's still getting some kills. He has 10 kills. He's able to at least get some knocks, and he is assisting his teammates overall. This team, everything is just working out for them today, and they're taking full advantage of it here, Glitter.
Yeah, and I like, you know, we mentioned it earlier. We heard Quinto say that their goal right now is just to be in a top 5 position. If they continue to play like this, they're going to be able to do that in their sleep.
I think they might even be like, yeah, top 1 right now as 7 was holding up. I think, you know, we have an MVP award. I think Pepito should almost just be crowned it right now, getting the awards himself. And also, speaking of awards, you guys at home can still be voting in the Esports Awards for your favorite esports mobile game of the year. And of course, that's going to be PUBG Mobile, right? You can head over to their website at esportsawards.com/community vote, and you can check out exactly there on your screen how to vote for PUBG Mobile. And like we said before, if it wins, Glitter and 7 are both going to do individual shout-outs to every single person who has voted. So you can head over to their Instagrams at Glitter Explosion at the 7WG and send them some messages saying, hey, I voted, give me my shout-out. Well, in the meantime now, we're going to head to a break yet again, but when we come back, we're getting to our 5th and final match of the day. It's going back to Erangel. We're going to close things out after that.
Mountain Dew. Squads, there's loot on the horizon for however you find victory. For the combat chauffeurs, for those who strike from above or from below, for the experts in pan-to-pan combat. Whether you're taking a leap of faith or just aren't afraid of a close call, fuel your path to winner chicken dinner with ice-cold Mountain Dew. And with exclusive loot from Mountain Dew fuel stations, spawning on a map near you.
For all the people out there who complain they can't breathe when wearing a mask, look at that man. He ran up a mountain through a battlefield with a tier 3 helmet on, and he was completely fine. You can see on your screen now the schedule for the last game coming up today. It's going to be on Erangel with Group C sitting out, so we're not going to see Loops, not going to see Executors. A lot of teams, unfortunately, we're not going to see for this last game of the day, but we'll get to see Queso and Wildcard and Ace1 and G25 yet again here, guys. Now, my question comes into this. G25, can they do 4 for 4?
Yes.
That's a lot. I don't know.
Come on. Jump on the train with me. Why not? You know which team this reminds me a lot of? It reminds me of the Cloud9 that we saw at the start of the PMWL, where they were just dominating. So I'm hoping they get that 4th win, but I'm also hoping that they don't peak too soon.
7.
That's what I'm kind of getting scared of now.
It's the last match of the day, and it's on Erangel, and Wildcard's playing.
Oh. Ooh, you're putting that doubt into my brain.
See?
Okay. Good thing we're not doing the prediction game.
Well, speaking of that, let's get a quick prediction in here. Glitter, we'll start off with you. Who do you think's gonna win this final match? 7 hates me so much right now. I still can't roll my R's.
You know, just to throw 7 off his game, I'm gonna go with Wildcard.
Yo, G25, what was that, Jason?
Well, what that is you guys heading off to break down the next match and obviously watch it in the meantime. I'm going to get rid of you because Seven's face cannot get any more red than it currently is. The guys at home, you can always be tweeting to us at esports PUBG with the hashtag PMPL. Maybe you want to tweet to us saying, hey, Jason, never try to roll your R's again, and I will be completely supportive of you in that essence. But let's bring in our commentators who also can't roll their R's. Let's get actually Envir and Cameron Davis to give us an example of what it would sound like if they tried. Envir, can we hear you roll your R? Attempt to? Nope, can't even make the sound. Cameron, you're gonna give a little bit of an effort to try?
We practiced a little bit last game with the Carrillo. Not bad.
Wait,
Yeah,
you
not bad.
lied? You
Not bad. I did. Yeah. I have it doesn't sound as great if I'm gonna a quick sentence. I sound like I'm obviously trying on it, but that's not bad. I surprised myself. Let's go.
You know what? You can't learn if you can do things unless you try. Envirum, I'm looking at you, man. But you know what?
I can't do it. Guys, I'm just...
That was a million times better than me. I'm not gonna lie. Oh my gosh.
That's a low bar to clear, Jason.
That was right. Did not set that very high.
Guys, please, come on. Let's talk about to build you guys up. Let's talk about the game. Yeah, let's.
It was like a curb.
Wild card, last game of the day. Aaron Go. We see what they did in PMWL. G25, 3 for 3 today, looking to go 4 for 4. Who are you more of a believer in?
Hard to say.
I'm a fan of momentum. I like momentum. So it's actually bizarre to think that a team could win like 4 games in a day. But if there was a team that could do it, it's G25 right now. So maybe, yeah. I don't know.
Cameron, are you a believer?
We're going to have to see. I think it's going to depend very much on where the circle is. That's such an obvious statement, I feel. But Erangel, I think, is probably one of the most diverse maps in terms of the styles of terrain that can be in play, depending on if you go like west side, east side, all the way down to the military base. So I think, despite it being the original map, it's in certain ways harder to call for specific teams if they have stylistic choices. But I think Wildcard, this is still their home map, and they should be looking pretty good.
Envirum, what's up, man?
Best non-answer I've ever heard.
Yeah, I know, right?
That was 40 seconds of non-answer. I love it.
I know. I'm gearing up to enter the 2024 presidential race.
Well, you know what? I would vote for you, depending on who the opposition was. But I probably still would vote for you anyways. But we're about a couple seconds away from getting into our final game of the day. Can't believe day 3 is almost done. We still have, 17 matches, or 17 days of matches to go after this. But let's drop straight in. Aaron Go kicking off. It's going to be Envirum and Cameron Davis to take you in.
Thank you so much, Jason. Where's the day gone? Seriously, though. Like, real talk. This day is, like, flown by. Flying like a plane we're about to jump into. Oh,
such a clean transition. Ooh,
nice. It's like after 5 games, we're getting the hang of it. See, like, PMWL, we didn't get to do all 5 games. Now we're here, we're back, we're doing the thing. And this is actually one of the friendlier playing paths we've seen in a hot minute. This is actually pretty nice. I dig it.
It's actually good. It's actually good right now. I also do want to brag that Seven pinged me and said that my R roll was pretty good. So,
nice.
I'm sort of flying high right now. My confidence is through the roof.
Feeling like G25 coming into this one.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. Let's see if your momentum theory is going to continue on, because unlike you, I'm a bit of a pessimist when it comes to the whole momentum concept, especially when the map changes and the groups change every single round that they do. There's so little in terms of mindset that you can carry on through. It's almost like you need to do a hard reset, or at least a medium reset from round to round. But looking at this playing path, you said it's an even one, but because it started off so far south, we are seeing multiple teams drop around the Sosnovka Island area. That might be 3 teams on Military Island, assuming Queso doesn't continue to make the trip over to Ferry Pier.
I mean, B4 goes to Novo pretty consistently. BDM taking over Billy. I mean, and this is a wide spread. Like, look at Smith's position down there. This is huge. If this is a northern circle, this could actually be very rough on TQ. Definitely keep an eye on that. Okay, not the worst.
We're good. So,
okay, we're full.
Even if it were a northern one, I don't know how worried I'd be, because Queso have shown a bit of a, what's the word? They like taking the early fights. And we saw it happen on Vikendi, we saw it happen in other maps as well. Take those early fights, get those early points, And then, you know, hopefully you can keep at least 3 of your players alive depending on how successful you are, move to the rest of the game. Early points, I feel, are going to become a lot more valuable because placements, of course, were nerfed. And if you're able to get we've already seen so many games today where early fights have been isolated. There's not the threat of the third party. There's not the threat of someone else coming behind you and spoiling your entire strategy. Trying to transition into a Mountain Dew reference, I can't make it. I'm sorry, I can't do it.
Yeah, man, that looks tasty.
Don't let the lack of refreshment spoil your lunch break.
I'm here sipping on regular water? I could be sipping on Mountain Dew game. I mean, come on, something is wrong with this pitcher team. Anyway, but yes, Ayala, early send over the river. This is not what I was expecting from TQ, like at all.
Yeah, if we have an opportunity to open up the map, that would be interesting because why is Ayala going by himself across? It's almost like he looted up the bare minimum. He didn't even do that. He has 5 bandages and not a single first aid kit. I don't know what weapons he has. I assume he has to have at least 1. But he's going forward, trying to find a spot in this circle. I'm assuming close to center around Gatka area. But the rest of Queso are still in Military Island.
Now he's heading over to Quarry. Okay, buddy? What? All right. I mean, he hasn't died yet, so I guess he's right.
I mean, talk about
there's that.
limitations.
Yeah, I mean, see, here's the thing. It's like, we can look at this, and, you know, we can be Debbie Downers. We're the casters, and we're looking at this with perfect, you know, bird's eye view, and we have the godfish on the board. And we can look at something and go, objectively, that seems wrong. But if a player makes it work, then they're right. But it still feels bad, because sometimes it's just wrong.
Well, I'm not going to say it's wrong, though, because I feel if you were to wait even 30 seconds, it would be a lot riskier than it is right now. Look, the rest of Queso are following behind. They have a little more loot. However, Richie is also ready, and he gets a knock, potentially more. He can swing his phone further towards the left side. Gyro, where's the follow-up? Where's the follow-up for the rest of the defeaters? Out in the open, this is really, really bad. Marco, stay alive.
Oh my goodness. All right. Yeah, Marco. See that look on Marco's face right now? That's my look right now. I mean, look, they had a scout. Ayala went ahead, played scout, but because defeaters played quiet at gas station, they thought they were clear to go ahead, and that's why I'm not a fan of that play, because teams that are smart early on aren't going to necessarily give away their whole position in that situation. So the intel that Ayala gave was almost invalidated as soon as he gave it, just because of the nature of this early shifting. I don't know. Hey, I don't want Harper to play too much. In any case, TQ's down a player. It's a little bit rough for them.
Maybe more. Fishy has an angle, and we saw no helmet on Marco, and still a fair bit of damage. He finds it. Marco with the headshot gets knocked. Well, he gets knocked. That's a second down, and Ayala, he's actually trying to return. Don't do this, Ayala. Okay. There's a little bit of a deflate that he can hide behind and get the revive. This is still very, very rough because, wait, is that an angle on the vehicle? Fishy could blow that vehicle up.
Yeah, they're still going to get, like, Fishy, like the last, I think it was like the last bullet in the clip. You're like, he doesn't have a helmet. 1 bullet finds the headshot. And now Defeaters is going to push. Yeah, this is the right play. Team Case don't have a whole lot to work with here. Ayala's got a gun, a little bit going on, but not a whole lot. Ghosty on the flank. It's Ayala versus the world right now. I got to give props to him, and he pulls out the grenade, which, of course, from Ayala, you'd love to see. But in any case, he's letting the close one, too. That's if they try and hard push him.
He's moving away from the rock, hoping that Richie doesn't find him with his own grenade. And I will say, Itsumeb was able to rotate up on the flank side, gives a little bit of pressure. The Defeaters push is a little bit too slow, but Ayala runs out of ammo behind a rock, and Itsumeb gave his own position away as well. They might be able to turn this back into their favor. Wait, that's 2 kills confirmed on Defeaters.
But if the players can make it work, then it is not wrong. Team Queso are showing, look, we may be taking some interesting calls here in this early game, but we are good enough to back it up. As now, the flank is coming in. Sume, he's got the close range weapon out. He's got a little bit of knowledge. He's like, something's fishy with these sandbags. Cooking it, sending it, getting it done. Getting it done is Team Queso, the 2v1. Itsume's like, I may be the young blood on this team. I'm coming in, I'm the new guy on the block, but I gotta step things up and put them down, and that's Team Queso. losing one player, but getting a squad wipe for good measure.
That is worth it. I will take that early game engagement every single time. But I think more people are coming up. XZ heard the fight. They want to take advantage of it. I think this is somewhere else on the map.
Pretty close.
Okay, yeah, this is actually right next to it because there are so many teams involved in this. They hear early game fights, they want to take advantage, but then they're not like sharks, but it's multiple teams of sharks, and then they have to fight each other to get the prey. It's Battle Royale, 16 teams, domino effect, or rather the butterfly effect is in play here.
This winter, Battle Royale with sharks. I would watch that.
Like Battle Royale plus meets Sharknado.
Yeah. With like, the sharks have like different color tag. Okay, I'm getting too far into this. In any situation, blood was spilled in the water and everyone wanted a piece of it. XZ rotated in, Nova rotated in, but it's actually, I think, Team Queso who was able to stabilize. Actually, they have a really good position. This is a lot of this new updated terrain in Erangel 2.0 that they were taking advantage of. Speaking of taking advantage, Fede Rao with every angle trying to play for the 1v4, and he almost actually does it. Okay, Fede Rao's normally the guy that sits back. He plays anchor for his team, but he almost just shredded Wildcard by himself. He almost got 3 downs there. That was nutty. Where's the rest of Loops, though?
Not far from here, but they didn't have an angle. I think Fede Rao must have rotated to this position first and then got collapsed upon by the entirety of Wildcard. You can see Dean there trying to find a rotation on the south side. Here's a replay of the fight earlier between Queso. Yeah, this is really good by Ayala. Yes, so the beginning of the fight and the positioning and almost like the macro strategy from Queso, I think left a lot to be desired. But the way that they had the mechanical prowess to save themselves and just execute on the fight was so good.
I mean, we talk about Team Queso. They're a team of 1s and 0s. The 1 either being they won, they got the chicken dinner, or the 0 being the amount of points they get in terms of placements. But they always get those kills. They always take those early fights. And late Erangel games are where they excel the most. They went back-to-back games on Wednesday for a reason. So I shouldn't have been so quick to counter Team Queso. That was on me. That was a me thing.
But it was a strange maneuver. It confused a lot of us.
Oh, man. But still, the fight is breaking out. This is, again, relatively friendly circle for a lot of these teams. Taking a look up towards Execute and crew up in North Georgia, that's going to be an interesting one as all these teams are rotating in towards the south, though. Just east of Ferry Pier is getting very congested.
XZ, I don't know if they made the call of 3 teams on Military Island, but they're in a position to counter that. I say that, they're actually moving away. Maybe they just don't want the pressure, they don't want the smoke from B4, they're going to take this hilltop. It's not going to be as optimal for setting a trap, but it will give them multiple options. And you can see Joey looking out to the north of him, finding information, because Phase 2 was relatively favorable for them. It was actually pretty favorable for most teams. Really what it did is cut out the annoying, virtually unplayable areas, or rather, the not priority playable areas.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely gave teams a very clear path of where they wanted to set themselves up. And there's a lot of good real estate left in this circle. Like, this is quintessential Erangel. It's still Erangel 2.0. Of course, there's some changes here and there, but this is still the map the players have put hundreds and thousands of hours of game time on. They know it like the back of their hands, so they're all feeling pretty comfortable here, taking over their old stomping grounds, because there's like a priority. And actually, this is cool to talk about, and we have a little bit of a lull. It's sort of the prioritization that teams play towards like different compounds and different areas in these different circles. Because Cameron, they have a very clear hierarchy of the areas they like to play.
Every team does. There's just places that you play so much that you just find super comfortable with. It's because of the amount of things that happen in Battle Royale, the amount of factors that there are in play. It's so difficult to say for sure, like, oh, if we pick up this player, that means we can play these places so much better. It's just something that you learn subconsciously through experience. Yeah, but oh, look at this. Through experiences, this is not something that I think multiple teams are experienced with. This is what I mean by the circle cut off non-priority areas. North George, north of the river, was one of those places, but both Meta and Execute were both a little late on their rotations away, taking a little bit of damage, not just from each other, but from the play zone as well. Execute luckily able to cross this very, very long, potentially treacherous bridge safely. Question is, how much information are they going to have moving forward into the game? We know that the area immediately surrounding them right now is pretty open, but their head is going to be on a swivel.
Oh yeah, they have no idea how few teams have actually rotated over to the west. Other than Meta, who rotated over as well. There's like Alpha 7, and that's about it. Most of the teams are either dead center or down towards the southwest and southeast. This western half of the circle is very wide open, and nobody's taken over Everest yet. You can see it here on the map. There's this big, wide open plain south of Hospital, but it is wide open. We did see the game actually end there way back in game number 1. It feels like so long ago, but I'm actually looking towards like HQA, TU, TQ, all there in the middle. This is going to become a very hotly contested ground very quickly. Let's see if HQA can hold on to it. Skies crossed. These guys have been looking pretty good so far today. They have the work cut out for them, as a lot of teams are going to be rotating in from the south.
That's actually really good. Ready to get your trigger fingers ready. Yes, it's a potential hold against multiple teams bombing in onto your compound. But if you're confident, that's a lot of points for you to pick up. And I don't think they even have the option of rotating away, rotating towards the northeast side, because they'd have to drive through the open area. They could easily be sprayed down by loops, by Wildcard, and even by 19. So I think HQA actually has no option but to just hold strong and cross their fingers as they're able to hold against the assault.
Yeah, here it comes. The unnamed is rolling in. Pittsburgh Knights is rolling in. The southwest portion of the new circle is... Oh, it's just bedlam. It's just chaos. As vehicles are blowing up left and right. Shots are raining on through. You can see it from all sides of these multiple angles. And Rams really one of the only last players standing through all of this. Everybody is down. Wait, it's Jad. It's Jad who is going prone, able to survive for Pittsburgh Knights as the last player is rolling on in. It's Trickster on the outset looking in. But that's just it. The execution from Pittsburgh Knights. New team, same name, and looking for that old fame. Great job from PK to secure that, but now they're getting shot at from all... It never ends, Cameron!
Watch that angle. Watch that angle. HQA have your number through that window. And B4 also rolling up not far from this. This is the sort of scattered compound, sort of... It's almost like ocean warfare if you look at the compounds as if they were battleships, which is like hot water in between them, shooting cannons from the bow. Between all these different compounds. And B4 roll up and find a big old cruiser for themselves. Smoke's coming out from the Knights to sort of reduce vision from opponents to allow them to get their teammates revived as well as loot up a B4. They want to go aggressive. They see the opening that they have in their favor and they're going to push in.
And this is the difference now. The B4 that walks away with chicken dinners. The old B4 would not have done this. They would not have full sent. Well, the letter has been sent. It's been posted and it's in the mail. And Trickster, he doesn't know where to go. He's just got to run, but he's just going to get mowed down. B4 looking so solid. One down, no hesitation on the execution. PK, you made this. I made this. It's our compound now.
And that was such a good initial take by the Knights, but you have to be ready to fight anyone that comes next, especially when you push into the hard edge of a hardship. And by that I mean the edge that everyone's going to be coming in on, in this case the southwest side. You have to be ready for the fights, multiple fights in a row. And that's why I think we're seeing a number of teams try and make big, wide, wrapping rotations. It's early enough in the game that the blue doesn't do that much damage, and it gives them the opportunity. Here's a replay real quick. Once again, off of the initial take and chat. Oh! I like the idea of swinging out wide and trying to get an initial knock. Unfortunately, when you miss that knock, when you don't find it, you have zero cover and you can easily get rammed by a vehicle.
Look, I know we talked about Cameron, like Jason mentioned earlier, like who we're voting for. I think that's I got to vote for Pedro, and he's just looking too solid. That was dirty. He did it dirty.
And now two hard shifts in a row. Not in the exact same direction, but still northern both ways. And Loops, I love this. Sabine immediately collapsing on the rest of his teammates to hold down that compound. They can just sit pretty, wait for everyone else to fight around them, and then take control once you hit the late game.
Yeah, but looking up towards the hilltop as well, just to the west of this, Meta and Execute, both of these teams are rolling on in, staring each other down. And this is exactly the fight we're taking a look at now. Fame Boy's going in, but Gazmi does have a little bit of intel. Escanor trying to hold this high ground, but he pushed it, which is giving the opportunity. I mean, Execute, this is so perfect. There are no hesitation, none to speak of. Even though the team has the high ground advantage, they're pushing in with the vehicles. They know how important this high ground is for this next circle. They can push all the way in across where Meta has right now. They are going to be in a prime position, Cameron. I love this decision making from Execute. It's aggressive, but it's based in a good spot in terms of macro rotations.
well, they don't have the luxury of taking the time to get that first initial knock before they push in, but unfortunately, they still can't get the knock despite being stone's throw away, or rather a grenade's throw away from meta, and they actually have to back off a little bit. In fact, you can see them just making the rotation because the blue is pushing in.
They don't have a choice. They just don't have a choice. Cameron Meta held their ground. They are king of the mountain. It's like we're back in middle school again. They're just told that this is on the playground today. Meta held strong. Get back and forth with HQA. Talked about this team that needed to hold off against all comers. Doesn't look like that was going to be the case here as Alpha able to do a decent amount of damage there as well. But B4 send after send after send. His teams are getting eliminated one after the other in the kill feed, but HQA is camping out in the middle of all this, and B4 don't know he's there. That could be the spanner of the works as Alpha 7 taking a ton of damage. One player down, one player getting oh so low. Senab is trying to hold on. Players are coming in from all sides, and Pedro, the player who started things off so well for his team last time around, they're continuing to keep up the pressure. Levi on the flank, Cameron! B4 is not stopping!
No, and Alpha 7, if they got a couple of initial knocks, they wouldn't have been forced to concede that blue building. But the wrap that Levi and Maxon have means that Alpha 7 are forced to pull away. They're leaving Senab there on the high ground, but everyone else is going back onto the building in the low ground, hiding behind a couple of UAZs. But here, what? Before, they just keep pushing. They can't not push.
I can't believe it, but Nenabetta doesn't realize there's a player in right behind him. He just ran right past him. What's even happening? Get your head in the game here, Alpha 7, because B4 is just rolling on over you. I cannot even believe it. A second of complacency from Edos there in the back, and B4 just went all the way through. And they are clearing this out. They do not know, and because Nenabetta walked past them already.
Yeah, they have no clue.
I guess this is fine.
It's like when you're looking in the fridge for a grocery and you talk to your significant other and you're like, I can't find it, it's nowhere. And then they go and they find it on the first look. It's going to be like that.
It's going to be like that. It was right there. It was right in the front. Oh,
it's literally the middle shelf of the fridge, staring you in the face. How can you not see it? Why am I dating you?
We'll have a conversation about the Slater camera. I'm saying this is a real story grounded here. But still, I got to give props to Team Queso for holding on through all this as we jump back to board with them now. Despite losing one player early, they picked themselves up 4 kills, and they're actually in not a bad spot, not the best spot, because they're now playing a little bit of gatekeeper here at Brazilian Rampage. Sume's got an angle down range over towards 19, but isn't able to confirm the down.
The game has quieted up real quick. Yeah,
look in the
finally found. Yeah, they're ground in 10th place. But most of the rest of the map has quieted down because this next circle, teams can't just bomb in willy-nilly because there's so little places to really play on. This really becomes more of a game of footsies and almost a game of tic-tac-toe in a way. Just trying to find some place. Can you keep it? Okay, cool, let's move the rest in. And it's just crawl forward bit by bit, inch by inch, and hope that you don't get taken out. Like Pedro might take one out.
Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Oh, B4 is just not stopping. There's Nenabetta. Echo's down as well. I cannot believe it. These couple of these teams just really stepping the big. Ayala as well confirming the shot. Sentry drops as well. Team Queso showing this late game power spike, this energy. Team Queso, the last game of the day. Yes, please, all day. Nunez is going to try and go in and drop down with the nade. This perfect. Marco will finally go down. Polo, we found him. But Nunez cannot continue to go forward because of this really wide position from the rest of Team Queso. Is actually holding on for them here, but I don't know how tenable the situation is for Team Queso. Shot here from Nunez, it could all be over, but he's not been missing lots.
He's actually already at the very beginning of the game. The wide angle hold from that fight earlier on. 19 do go out. And Nunez does pick his teammate up. Sentry is alive, and they're throwing out more grenades to confirm the kill against Queso to make it a 2v2 between these two squads. Marco is finally confirmed. It's just Ayala and Nitsumeb left, and Nitsumeb crawling forward with the grenade in hand, waiting to get in range. Pulls the gun out because of the rotation. Can't find the angle just yet. Oh, I say that! A couple of shots, a little bit of damage, but no confirm.
Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. So close. Bullets just whizzing right on by. Sume spots the head, peeks it, finds it, can't quite get the down. And That's huge because now his position has been given away. The Blues continue to push on in. Sentry's going to drop again. And B4 just racking up down after down. And the kill feed as the circle just continues to squeeze and shrink on in. And now Brazilian Rampage. They've got nowhere left to go. And that is just going to be the team slowly getting choked out in game number 5.
Man, oh, what luck. Right when Queso take control of the area, as much control as you can get in that spot, those little hard shifts away from them once again. But B4, they are loving this shift. There's not a lot of terrain that they can play. That's why they're still on the edge. But they can just wait and farm up the teams that are going to be pushing in from the north and the east side and continue to rack up those skill points. They already have 11. But what's a couple more?
Yeah, okay. Well, just a few more. Just throw them on the pile here. We want to set a record for most kills here in PMPL. Don't worry about it, team. As now we're jumping on board with BDM, who have been really quiet on so far. They only got 3 kills, but they've actually managed to keep all 4 players alive, utilizing his utility, trying to get this last player up. B4 has been such a thorn in their side. Look at the mini-map. The shots coming out in all directions as B4 is continuing to put on the pressure. Pedro is a one-man wrecking crew. This guy has decided, look, we don't have a chicken dinner yet today. G25's not actually in this game. I don't know what we were talking about in the analysis segment, so let's go. This is B4's game to win. Jason, you debated all of us. Not a fan of it. As now we see a very angry B4 taking over this map. My goodness, look at the way they position themselves. Camera head on a swivel non-stop. And if Pedro can take down Rafa here, that would be massive.
BDM, I like how they're going aggressive on this. They're trying to force the control back in their favor despite having a disadvantage. But the other alternative is just to sort of roll over and die.
But I love the little stuff there, like Rafa intentionally throwing the grenade up the hill a little bit so that if it rolls down into Pedro. Like the small little things like that, you don't necessarily think about them as much when you're in the moment, but the fact that these players can continue to execute on those small mechanical things with this much pressure shows just how good these teams are.
Spotting the rotation, he was lying in wait, doesn't land any shots though, but at least it's a little more information. He knows that their back is clear, and they can use the top of this hill, the top of this ridge, to put Elsewhere without fear of getting back.
Whoa! Okay. I like it, which is the point of the game. Okay. Where did you see a smoke and you just shoot at it? Oh my goodness. Oh, the pop-up. That's how you lay a trap. Executes like a team. Here you go. Kowski is down. Dadine just laying down as much cover fire as they can. Kill switch. Gotta hit the switch. The go button. If push comes to shove here, you can hear the footsteps coming on in. Cooking it. Sending it. Can he find it? Not quite yet. He's got to rely on his gun in this moment because I think they're going to get Kayovsky. No, the last second. And Killswitch is keeping an eye on that. Yes, he forces out the stop on the revive here. Battle between these 2 players.
I mean, he's just trying to find as many, 1 or 2 more kills before he gets taken out. But really what it's doing is it's keeping Loose from taking control of the rest of the game. They had to focus so much attention on Killswitch. And they're not losing any more players outside of that first surprise kill, which is good for them. Getting a little low in blue.
Oh, blue damage.
Yeah, a little low there.
Almost.
Let's move forward a second. But despite that, they still have 3 up. But Killswitch, he's backing away from this. He's not allowing Loops to get comfortable at all.
And if I was Dadine, I would have expected him to see that burning buggy down there. That's where Dadine was. Like the second, I would have expected him to move too, but he's at the edge of the circle. Killswitch is not playing to get into this top 2 situation. He is playing for kill points at this stage in the game. A constant thorn in the side of the last 2 remaining members of Loops. Golden needs to step up, the newest addition to this squad, because Killswitch, he's thirsting for it. And with 0 seconds left, the blue is pushing in. How does Killswitch play this?
He sees the smoke, and that should be the go sign, but he might have seen it too late, because I think the hill was covering a lot of it. Yeah, Dadine's already picked back up. Killswitch, he's just going to continue to crawl ever forward and hope that he can find maybe 1 more place, maybe 1 more kill. And Loops, they are not in a comfortable position at all. They're down to 2 players now. And Killswitch is just not letting them, again, still not letting them be comfortable, not letting them actually take control, and B4 have spread out. Yes, they're on the low ground, but if they continue to hit shots like that, that doesn't matter.
I mean, B4, again, I talk about it, the 1-man wrecking crew, each and every one of them doing work. Finally, somebody tries to shut them down. and it's one of the members of Meta across the way as Team Queso's finally getting eliminated. I believe they tried to sneak up there on the outside, but Kill Switch just being such a threat up here at the top. Loops is going to go down as well. Yeah, that's it. And Kill Switch, I talked about how I wasn't playing for the top 2, but maybe I was wrong as he continues to do the work, jumping around the tree, finally taken down. Oh my goodness, it's about damn time. As we're seeing Escanor on the outside here, heel stratting through all of that, and that's just going to be B4, and there was no doubt in my mind that they were going to take the winner chicken dinner here with 19 kills. Really, Escanor? You're going to deny him? No, you don't! Make it 20! Pedro picks it up! That was nice of you, Escanor. Not too prideful on that one. Gonna let him get the 20 bomb here in this 5th and final game of the day. B4 Esports, welcome to the weekend.
Listen, any other situation, I would be mad at Meta. If you're going to heal strat or if you're going to deny to blue, at least commit and make sure that the kill goes to the blue. But in this case, because it gives B4 the full-on 2-0, I'm fine with it. I'm happy with it. B4, what an amazing game for them. And they didn't even have the circle. Only until the late game was a shift in their way. But it's not like they were in a compound. They had to fight through so many different teams to get there. And they kept 4 up into the late game. Just their team fighting prowess in that round was top level.
Yeah, and as Jason, as we bring you back into this, like the old B4, the PMWL, like they would sit back a little bit, they would send 1 or 2 players up, and they would really play the sort of anchor game, the 2-2. This is like the full send show, and I love it. If this is what the aggression that PMPL is going to show us for the next like 3 weeks, I'm all about it, sir.
I mean, we're seeing what the addition that Nabete's been offering them. I mean, obviously he wasn't the biggest fragger for the team, but the confidence that it seems like B4 have that they previously lacked is really there. And also, as Glitter was talking to us during the break, like Erangel has super improved for them as well. Definitely being one of their weaker maps. We saw Miramar being one of their best. They're being consistent. They've been consistent all day. And like you guys said, welcome to the weekend. But speaking of you guys, you can go enjoy the rest of your day for the weekend because you're done for the day. And I think you're done for the weekend as well. I think we have Hot Troops and Mustache Dave coming back tomorrow, though don't back me up on that. Well, don't back me on it. We'll see. What was that, Cameron?
Bye! Have a good weekend, guys. Take it easy.
What did Cameron say?
Okay, we're going. All right.
Aww. I wanted to hear what he had to say. It's fine. I'll ask him after the show. Let's bring in our experts, though, to talk about that last match, Seven and Glitter. Hopefully it's more than Glitter's hand this time, as Seven was also noticing during the break. Yes! As she was clearly rooting against some teams. I'm not going to say what team it's going to be, but what a great game for B4, Glitter. To bring up the point for you talking, or as I mentioned before you guys came in, about B4 have looked so much better on Erangel.
Yeah, honestly, they had just found this new synergy that is completely working out well for them. As the caster said before, they didn't even have the zone in their favor this time. They were just rolling through every single team that got in their way, and 20 kills. This is obviously the highest kill game we've had so far, and it was so impressive a journey to how they even got there. But we do have to give some credit to the rest of the teams up here on the list. We see Metagaming coming in second place with 5 kill points. That's going to be some good points for them, as they did have a very strong showing at the very beginning of the season, and then they kind of been a little bit quieter, but still consistent, so this will be good for them. Team Queso finally stepping it up by having not a win that is still a decent amount of points for them, Seven. So this works out well for them. And we do see Execute and Loops, who you've talked about so many times, finally ending up here in a top 5 position.
Yeah, I'm so glad they got a chance to play this match, and I think we got to give it even a little bit more props there to Team Queso. Remember, coming into today, they only had 1 placement point out of the games that they had not win. Ended up with the chicken dinner. So great improvement in regards to that. B4 with the 20 kills, as you were mentioning. Execute there with 3 kills. Loops Esports with 5 kills too. I think they were able to do a lot of interesting stuff. And something I actually want to notate in regards to Loops Esports is Carrillo ended up sitting out. Not sure why. We'll definitely try to get a little bit more information in regards to that. Maybe they're just testing out different stuff, but not a bad performance there, not having what used to be your MVP. And then we go here towards your second page. We see Exit there with 3 kills. Alpha 7 Esports. I kind of enjoyed today what Alpha 7 Esports was able to do. They started off the day a little bit hot. They kind of stayed to the middle of that pack, not towards the bottom where we've been able to see them a lot. So loving the improvements there as well. Same with Nova Esports. You see Brazilian Rampage, or as Jason likes to say it, brr, and then you see Unnamed with 1 point. Wildcard Gaming actually a very big surprise there with just 1 point. Defeaters 1 point, and Helping Quit Addiction with 1 point as well.
Yeah, I mean, and also for Loops, you point out Korea wasn't playing, but one player who was playing, it was Kayovsky, and a 7 likes to say Kowalski. So moving forward into talking about some other parts of the game, obviously B4 with fantastic. I'm going to give a little bit of a shout out though to 19 Esports because they've been on the bottom of the scoreboard overall since day one, and they got themselves 5 nice points. But let's look at the stats though for B4. And I said, you know, while we were watching, like, 2,200 damage with 11 kills? Like, what? No way. And then indeed, they definitely have the damage to back it up, considering they finished off at almost 3,200, even making Glitter surprised. I mean, honestly, I think we're all surprised to see B4 come out the match like that.
That's our first match we've seen above 3K as well, 7.
Yeah, not only that, can we take note of like their healing? Less than 1,000 healing. Usually when we see performances like that, with anybody that has 20 kills, or at least from previous tournaments, they end up with definitely over 1,000 damage. So it shows that they were taking into fights, that were finishing off, and they were moving on to the next fight too. Impressive performances there by B4.
Yeah, honestly, I think our entire Mountain Dew game fuel moments are just going to be B4 highlights, considering they had 20 kills in the lobby. They had a third of the kills they possibly could get themselves. That's insane.
As we do see this engagement, I actually enjoy engagement. Knocking somebody and finishing off somebody from Team Queso. Team Queso say, you know what, we're gonna go back and actually finish you guys off, and they did. The Defeaters only ended up getting that just 1 kill.
Don't forget, guys,
Team
hit the
Queso.
emoji
and as you can see here,
buttons and the follow
Ayala
button.
being able to kind of avenge their
I'll be
teammate,
streaming
as
the
well
tournaments
as I think his name is Fishy.
when they're on.
Definitely Fishy there with
From
the,
now on,
with the
plus
bit
my
of aim. He
gameplay
was not
too.
able to get that knock. He was able to get the knock, but
So
not as
make sure
fast
you guys
enough. And
hit
then
the
you
follow
see just
button,
Team
the
Queso
emoji
being able to
button, and
just
the
destroy
subscribe
everybody.
button.
Sume, once again, being able to put out some kills there for Team Queso. And something that we've been noticing is the additions. Remember, at the top of the show, we talked about it. We talked about Nitsume being a great addition.
Thank you guys for coming and watching. And
Plus,
support.
and a great gunner for Team Queso. And then Nebete, and I'm pretty sure we're going to see some of the highlights here for B4. And Nebete being able to also put up the numbers. I kind of wish we would be able to see what his damage alone was for the whole B4 squad. It will be interesting to see as we move forward here to Pittsburgh Knights. And out of all these teams here, which one did it most glitter throughout the day?
I feel like it has. Oh, that's throughout the entire day. Honestly, it's a toss-up between G25 because they were just insane today and consistent across the board with that level of gameplay the entire time. But B4 just generally, I feel like they've almost gotten better and better every single day. And I know that we were looking out for them because I even said on the very first day of B4 was a squad that I felt like was constantly getting so close to greatness and then just not being able to close it out. They have completely shut me up now because they have closed it out time and time again. So this is probably one of the standout squads for me.
Yeah, I think for myself, it has to be obviously B4, G25 Gaming, and Team Queso. You got to give them some credit too with what we were mentioning before in regards to the placement points. There were only placement points from Chicken Dinner, so it's good to see that now they're starting to readjust a little bit, right? It's not all or nothing with them. They can also get some points if they're towards the middle of the pack or at least a top 5 situation. But B4 was just way too strong for anybody. Nenebete, as you can see, being able to get some kills right there. At that point, he already had 4 kills after he was able to finish off that man. Then you see Darin, and this new squad, this is an interesting squad here for Loops Esports. I wonder if they're gonna continue to try different variations of it. We've seen Kayowski being able to sit out before. We also now see Carrillo being such a huge figure, such a huge, pretty much a fragger to talk about. For him to sit out, it's definitely interesting if they're gonna maybe try to do it a little bit more in the future, considering that he actually, in a way, it worked out for Loops Esports. They ended up in 5th place with 5 kills. Not bad at all.
What about Kill Switch?
You know who else? I was just gonna, okay, literally Jason stole the words out of my mouth because I was gonna say, you know who else actually impressed me was Kill Switch, because we watched him play so smart, and this is some of the clips right here as we're watching him take out player after player on Loops by himself, and he did it so calmly and so intelligently and was able to actually pull down some more kills for his squad. Now, Kill Switch was somebody that we had talked about at the beginning of the season, having done so well for Execute on the journey to PMPL Americas, and he actually ended up with 3 kills to himself after kind of snaking around with literally no one to assist him. So, and we actually saw a clip from him at the beginning of the Game Fuel moments as well, because he had gotten another kill early on in the game. He just did very well today.
The funny thing is, most people in his situation would just stake, right? They just try to play up for placement points. But because, I guess, placement points are worth a little bit less, and he felt like he had the opportunity to get those kills, which he did, he's able to net some extra points on top. But now, something you wanted to see. Not necessarily a breakdown of individual players, but we're going to see our total damage from all the teams. And I'm not even going to look. I'm going to stay here the entire time, and I'm going to just tell you that B is clearly #1.
Oh, by a mile. But it's not even close. Look
It's
at
like
that.
me saying next to
That's
7.
the most... It is, dude. It definitely is. It's more like B4 and loops. That's what it kind of looks like, but whatever. You have metagaming, though, over 1,000 damage. We saw, like, today we saw really good matches. I really enjoyed the matches by everybody. A lot of teams, surprisingly, were able to put up 1,000 damage in multiple maps throughout the day, and that was impressive. You see Wildcard there being able to at least get a kill with those 263 damage, and then you see HQA not being able to get a kill. Overall, listen, the improvements from B4 that we have seen throughout the tournaments, for them to be able to show up like this and have the best performance out of any team so far in this tournament. I know we're currently in day 3, but what a showing. Now, would you be able to, are you going to become one of those teams in B4 that other people are going to be like, yo, B4 just knocked us out, you know what, let's not take it to that fight? Because remember, we have seen that happen previously, where teams start becoming very dominant at the beginning, and in a way, they don't get hunted down.
Well, you know what? Speaking of hunting down some players that we're doing so, are we going to see right now our top players in the last match of the day in Pedro. I mean, we had the insane 3K grenade out of Pepito last time, but this time, Pedro gets the damage done basically by himself without the grenades.
Yeah, that's 1,000 damage to himself. That's not bad. 7 kills, 5 assists. Damn, that's actually really good. And then you see Nenebete, something we mentioned in the previous days, if you guys remember, is saying how he's going to start getting a little bit more comfortable with this team, how he's going to come into himself, and he's showing it right here. People were saying that Nenebete could become that Carrillo out of Brazil, or what Carrillo was in the previous tournament. Well, he's starting to show up, but not only that, you have Maxon, and once again, we got to give a huge shout out to Nitsume, because he has been such a consistent player here for Team Queso Glitter.
Yeah, and can I put an honorary mention for the top players on there as well? I know I literally just talked about him, but Killswitch maybe up there as well, because if you actually looked at the total damage graph that we were looking at, 3 kills were all the kills that Execute got. All of them were kill switches, and they had a total of like 920 damage when Killswitch actually did 650 of that 920 damage. So he gets an honorary mention in my mind.
I can tell you from personal experience that listening to Glitter in that last match, she was definitely enjoying him ruining people's days, especially one team in particular, which is unfortunate for them. But then, as you mentioned, Seven, Nitsume, Nenebete, I mean, we talked about at the top of the show, like new additions within their teams, new additions to cores that were already existed for such a long time, and the improvements they've been able to make for themselves and, of course, for their teams. But it's time now. It's time to see our overall rankings, and before we see it, I'm just checking before it comes up, I want to see a yes or a no from you two. Do you think G25 had taken that #1 spot?
Yes.
They have to have, right?
Especially their last match. They ended up getting, what was it, 28 points, 13 kills, and a win? Yeah, that's... If they don't have first place, I'll honestly be shocked.
Okay, maybe you'll follow me on back on Instagram. Let's see the overall standings now to see if they have taken that first place. Please don't take it. Please don't take it. Oh, all right. Well, happy for them. Sad for me. They did get 3 chicken dinners today, though. We have to keep in mind. So 3/4 of the chicken dinners were from one day in total.
Okay, we're focusing about G25, we're focusing with B4 and Ace and Team Queso, but look at Tempo Store and Wildcard Gaming. When we first started the day, they started, I believe it was 7 and 8, if I'm not mistaken. So even though they've been very quiet, we haven't really got a chance to talk about them much. But slowly but surely, they're moving up that ranking, and this is veteran teams, this is veteran players that you're gonna have to look out for towards as we do get later on into the tournament. Actually, surprised to see Temple Store and Wildcard Gaming, they're moving up the ranks, but G25, honestly, with 67 kill points, now having one more than B4 Esports with 66, Ace 1, 64 kills. I'm enjoying the 60+ kills here. You can definitely tell a lot of these teams, Glitter, are starting to focus on those kills.
Guys, you remember at the top of the day we talked about G25 and Ace 1, where G25 was behind by like 1 placement point or like 3 placement points I think it was, but behind by like 15 kills? They're actually only ahead by 3 kills, which obviously a big portion of those came later in the day, but they just skyrocketed ahead of them when it comes to placements.
It's crazy. And we had pointed that out, that Ace was kind of a little bit more volatile and inconsistent when it came to like how they were acquiring those points, and we're seeing how that's potentially going to play out for some of these squads.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see who's going to be on
I'm with you.
7, like, because obviously we have like the likes of Cloud9s, the Loops. I'm curious if they've been able to kind of grind their way up into our safe placings. Remember, it's only the top 16 that will move into the finals. So we're going to see the second page right here. And Loops will be in the 9th place. So Cloud9 not making a showing just yet, but Loops definitely had an okay day considering what we saw on day 1.
Yeah, not
Cloud9 is
the
there, I'm
loops
blind.
that we're kind of used to. No, yeah, Cloud9 is there, but not the loops that we're kind of used to. But in a way, they are kind of still saving face, and it is the 3rd day. But as I mentioned, at what point are we gonna stop saying it's the 3rd day and 4th day? I feel like if they wanna do a good performance, I mean, they're currently within the top 16, so they will be qualifying towards finals. But it's not the performances that we're used to seeing out of them. Alpha 7 Esports, I'm actually enjoying seeing them there. I thought today was one of their better days so far this tournament. And then you have Tribe Gaming and Cloud9, and this is actually pretty good for Cloud9. They're still within striking distance. This reminds me a lot of the Cloud9. They started off slow, and as the tournament went on here, Glitter, they ended up doing a lot better. Could we see something the same? I'm thinking maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see Cloud9 picking up with their aggression. I think that could work well for them throughout the rest of the season, but what I'm noticing right now is that there's currently a 103-point gap between 1st and 16th place. There is already a huge spread happening between these teams, and like you said.
Alright guys, I'm calling it for the night. If you guys haven't liked the post or hit the follow button, do it now. I'm gonna end the stream tomorrow. Tomorrow I think there's another tournament going on, so I might end up streaming the tournament again, the new tournament for tomorrow. I'll also be streaming my gameplay also, so it's not like I'm done streaming for myself. I'm still streaming for myself, but I'm gonna start streaming the tournaments for you guys also. It'll give you guys something else different to watch. Alright, everyone, have a great night. Thank you for coming and supporting my page and showing up. And everyone have a great night and a great day, and stay safe out there. And like I said, thank you for all the support.